Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined with my two completely stuffed co-hosts. To my right, it is the one, the only, Uncle Sam.
Hello.
And to my left, it's none other than our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
You don't speak for me because I'm actually starving right now.
Really?
Yeah.
You ready for round 3 or 4?
There was only one round for me, and I was so hungry at that point in time, and I had so many high noons yesterday for the tailgate that when I got to my final destination, I had snacked so hard that when dinner came around, I was like, meh, so my plate was one helping, and I just wanted to lay and
just nap. Just fall into the oblivion.
Yeah, I was able to muster up the courage to have a little bit of a Rice Krispie treat.
Really? No pie?
We actually didn't have any pie yesterday.
No pie?
No pie yesterday. I like pie, though.
And behind the computer, as always, roasting his own bird, it's Bruce the Tugboat Venditti.
What's going on? How do you come up with these?
It's just what I have to do. That's my sole purpose here, is to figure out different ways to say that you're jerking off. How's your Thanksgiving, Uncle Sam?
It costs me
Great.
sleep at night.
Terrific.
Trying to figure out how to introduce
Terrific.
What made it so terrific?
Oh, good food. Good food.
What'd you put down?
Good food.
Any high points, low points, peaks, pits?
High points. Dinner. Dinner was
Well,
amazing.
what about the dinner?
My wife overdid as usual.
What was the best
her,
thing you put in your mouth?
I will be honest with you, dude. Her turkey was fucking amazing this year.
I'm saying.
But my kielbasa was
Oh,
outstanding. I did it
Was it?
differently this year.
Can you guys bring me some
Normally,
food?
I put it in the oven. This year, I fried it. It was fucking incredible.
You fried your kielbasa?
Fried
Like
the
in a
kielbasa.
pan?
I fried my kielbasa in a pan with Verners.
there we go.
And I'm telling you,
Isn't that what you said?
it's
you were
the
gonna do?
same
No, you usually
concept.
bake it with the
Meatballs are the same way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know if you know how to make meatballs or not, but every time I make meatballs, I fry them. I do not bake meatballs. Baking changes the flavor, it changes the texture. So I fry everything.
Fabulous.
Same fucking way.
I prefer
Same way with the kielbasa.
I prefer everything out of a pan as opposed to an oven
Agreed.
as well.
Agreed.
If it's out of a pan,
Yeah.
it's going to taste better.
Out of the pan, it keeps all the flavor, it keeps everything. If you bake anything, you put it in the oven and bake it, it loses it.
So outside of the Rice Krispie treat and the high noons,
My wife made fucking cheesecake. It was blueberry cheesecake. It was fucking amazing.
how many slices?
One big one. One big
Did you
one.
take a quarter of the fucking baking?
No, it wasn't poured in the baking pan, but my God, was it fucking good.
How quickly after you finished the cheesecake were you out?
I was out actually before that.
Yeah, you'd have an
Well,
intermission.
because we took like a fucking hour in between dinner and the cheesecake.
that was the nap time.
hour and a half.
Did you go back after dessert for more?
No, I did not.
You didn't.
No, I did not
You
because
never cooked dinner?
I was literally fucking full, dude.
Yeah,
I couldn't move.
Sarah had
It's
3
me. I like
brownies
to test
apparently.
stuff while we're
Shout
cooking.
out
3 whole brownies.
Shout out to Sarah.
Yeah. See, I'm the one who's underneath the foil, grabbing the bits.
Well,
Yeah,
like the
of
turkey.
Yeah, 100%.
Like the turkey, I took the turkey out of the oven.
Yeah.
And we put it on the counter and we wrapped it in tin foil. Just so it keeps
Yeah, you got to let it
heated.
sit for a minute. Yeah.
And I got greedy and I wanted to try it before we did that.
Yeah, so you're picking.
You can eat some bits while the bird is resting.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kosher.
And
Kosher.
it was amazing. And then, the
The juice. You
8
got to dip
pieces
the
of
meat.
kielbasa I ate before I fucking dinner even
Before-
started.
that was the moose bouche.
And the ham. Of course, I had to get my horseradish and beet mixture
For the ham?
for the ham.
Like I
Oh,
said, that sounds really good.
It is good.
it's fucking amazing, dude.
Good.
That's old Pollock shit right there.
Horseradish and beef.
On ham.
That sounds
Beet and
really good.
horseradish together.
Does it look red? The
Yes.
sauce?
Yeah.
I am
Did you-
all in
Did
on
you
that.
shit out red this morning?
No.
The
No,
beets,
I did not.
The beets always give
Yeah.
me
No, I
a
didn't.
worry because it looks like you're
Yeah.
shitting blood
Beets
for a minute.
exclusively make my
I love
pink, my poop
horseradish.
pink.
I don't
Yeah,
know about you guys,
exclusively.
but
I
there's
love
two
it.
things that I love. One is horseradish.
Love
The
horseradish.
other one is sauerkraut. I love fucking
Did you do
sauerkraut.
Kapusta
I must be
yesterday?
German in a different life because To me, that's the shit.
Did you do kapusta yesterday?
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
How
Is there any kapusta here that I could
Good,
try?
that's where-
No.
Sauerkraut's
So
in.
this is the problem.
That's what the sauerkraut is in.
I don't have enough refrigerator space to bring all the leftovers. So at
Classic.
some point,
I have
to
2
go-
fridges, so I didn't have that issue.
See, I got the turkey brining in the fridge in the
Correct.
garage, and I'd take everything out to fit the pot in there. So I got to go to my mother's, get all of that, and bring it here at some point because they're leaving tomorrow. So I need to bring it all here. But I have an entire tray of kapusta left, and it was fucking fabulous. Outside of dessert, the Rice Krispies, what was the best thing you put in your mouth?
Oh wow, it's gonna sound.
I
so
want to
bad.
know what's the best.
We're
thing
not
Bruce
good at
put
the
in
white
his
people
mouth.
food where I come from.
Okay.
The turkey was better than it normally was. It sounds like you guys had great turkey. I want to
Great.
try everyone's food. I would
Great
love to
turkey.
try that. My mom made this aperitif, this hors d'oeuvre that was, it was just cream cheese, ham, and scallion on green onions.
Oh yeah.
And we had Ritz crackers with those. Those were outstanding. I hate to cite a hors d'oeuvre as something that was
No, it counts.
that stood out.
No, my wife she makes a dip that's made of cream cheese, pimento,
Sold.
and all
take
kinds
2.
of shit that's fucking amazing.
Don't even care what the shit
But
is.
you eat it cold.
Yeah.
The
With
dips.
the chip.
Listen to me. The dips are one of the most underrated parts. If you got good
Yeah.
dips going,
Yeah.
the problem is you need like dip hour, and then you need an hour off. Because if you go straight dip into food, you're
dip in
fucked.
between. We don't do breakfast.
Right? No, there's
So
no
what
breakfast.
we did
on
was we dipped
No,
as we
breakfast
were
on
cooking.
Thanksgiving.
So
Got
we're hammering crackers and little pieces of bread.
I hear you.
Or little medallions that she puts in the
Yeah.
oven. And we're hammering.
Toasties.
And she makes a really an outstanding spinach dip
Oh yeah,
with the artichoke
it's
hearts.
the best.
And motherfucker, and it's so creamy. It's almost like a fucking soup.
We're gonna
It's
need
so
to clip
creamy.
that. It's
Huh?
so creamy. We're gonna need to
Motherfucker,
clip that.
it's so creepy.
Motherfucker, it's so creamy. Bruce, what did you eat yesterday?
Just some turkey.
It's a sausage.
Peg made the turkey.
No, she heated it up. It was catered.
She catered.
Oh,
it,
they
remember?
catered it. That's
but yeah,
right.
she heats it up.
How was it?
It was actually pretty good.
Not bad, eh?
No, yeah, it was pretty good.
Good.
The stuffing was actually pretty good.
How many?
White meat or dark meat, Bruce?
White.
Okay.
How many?
No ham. I was pissed off.
Well, see the ham.
not have
I
ham?
love.
I don't.
No,
have
I
the
love
ham.
I love
Like,
the
You
ham.
want to know what the
Love
killer
the
part
ham.
is? I bought a
Christmas.
fucking goddamn 5-pound ham and
Nobody
I ate the
touched it.
motherfucker by myself.
Yeah, my mother did the same thing.
I didn't win no ham.
That's
Fuck out of here.
I'm starving
Ham's
right now.
Christmas.
It's the best.
I'm
Ham is
starving
the
right now, and I'm gonna go back and eat. And the first thing I'm gonna go for is the ham when I go back.
I have an
and eat.
entire.
Listen to me.
slice
Nothing's
honey
better than
baked at
pork.
home.
Remember that.
I do love pork.
Nothing is better than pork.
Bruce thoroughly enjoys his own pork.
Tipped swine.
my own pork.
Yeah, Bruce loves playing with his own pork.
All right, who's on here?
So far, President Baker's reporting for duty.
Who?
President Baker.
What'd you have for, did you get the 2 for 20, Leon?
Oh wow.
Did you get that 2 for 20? What was her name?
Boston
Remember
Market.
the girl.
Diamond.
No, it wasn't her. No, what was her name? Tiffany.
Tiffany,
Remember Tiffany?
I knew it
Tiffany
had
wants to
something to
know
do
if you
with
got the
jewelry.
2 for
What
20.
he told everybody he was gonna do.
What?
Said he got a couple birds running around in his backyard, and he was.
Yeah, you
fucking
said you were
kill
going to
it.
go out into the woods tomorrow and kill it with
Listen,
your bare
I
hands.
want to, man. You know what? My wife said I ain't cleaning that shit. That's why I didn't.
Yeah, she'd have to pluck all the feathers.
She's the one that's plucking it, not me.
Yeah, if he chokes it out,
I'll kill it. I'll choke it out and kill it, but she's got to clean it, and she didn't want to. That's why.
Okay.
Smart ass. Next time I'll just fucking kill one and throw it on the hood of your car.
Well, not this car.
Yeah, you can't. Nobody can defile the Buick.
Whatever.
I actually have a nice vehicle now. It's
Yeah.
not a
Did you tell
99
Mike that he
piece
got
of
a
shit.
that he got a new car?
I did not. We haven't. No, yesterday was all about. I didn't want any. No bad vibes yet.
Any Ajita?
Exactly.
Some-
All right, let's get into a little bit of football talk.
I had 3 brownies. Who's that, Sarah?
That's Zolo's Sarah.
Little Sarah?
That's Zolo's Sarah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I
Oh, I
also
know a guy named Mike Livernoise. Any relation?
I don't think so.
I
Thought
actually
I'd check.
I had 3 brownies yesterday. Elizabeth made brownies, but you top the brownie underneath on the bottom. You put a little bit of pecan pie filling, and then on top of the brownie, You coat it in pecan pie
She
filling.
told me she was making that. That
They were
sounded good.
so fucking good.
Yeah.
Do you have any more of those?
There's got to be. There was a shitload of them. I had that, and then dessert. I made my mom go get the Costco pumpkin pie because Costco's the best pumpkin pie ever. They have the best pumpkin pie.
Okay.
It's the giant one for $6. And then she ordered some pecan pie from Texas, and they flew it here in the little chilled box, gold belly shit. It was fucking fantastic pecan pie. Fantastic.
How's the bird and the ham? I know she goes to get
I
the
didn't.
honey
I didn't
bag.
do the ham. She did the honey baked with the thick glaze and all
How
that
was it?
bullshit. I didn't touch the ham.
What the fuck is wrong
Dude, the
with you?
Thanksgiving's
You guys
about
all
the
suck.
bird.
I don't want to hear anymore.
The bird was fantastic.
Said
Though.
if you're not gonna have any pork, I'm done talking.
Well, did you? So do you gravy? You're gravy, right?
What do you mean?
You put gravy on your turkey.
On my turkey?
Yeah.
Yes, but I put cranberry on my stuffing.
Okay. See, I don't do gravy, but what I do is I make her take the baster and suck all the juice out of the pan
Okay.
and give me a bowl of the butter juice, and then
Okay.
I coat my turkey in
That's
the butter
interesting.
juice, and then
I
throw
like-
a bunch of cranberry.
I
on top
love
of that.
mushroom gravy.
See, I'm not
Not
about
for my turkey. I don't like a thick
For my
gravy.
turkey, yes.
I don't like a thick gravy for my turkey. I want microwave butter dumped on my turkey.
Yeah, same.
I treat my
That's-
turkey like
that
lobster.
just says diabetes all over
the
it.
shit at the bottom of the pan.
Yeah.
All it is fucking
Yeah, with the
liquefied
shards
butter.
in there.
Liquefied
Yeah.
butter
You get a
and
little bit of
garlic.
herbs, a little bit of parsley.
Yeah, a little rosemary.
Yeah.
Leon said that he had turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and chocolate cake.
Turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese. Who the fuck makes mac and cheese on?
No, mac and cheese is for Thanksgiving
Yeah,
thing.
we
At
had
all
it for
his
the
grandmas.
kids. It was the first time we had it yesterday, but we had it for the kids mainly.
Never had mac and cheese on Thanksgiving.
Neither have I
At-
until yesterday.
At the first Thanksgiving at Elizabeth's grandma's, they had this big old thing of mac and cheese with a buttery crushed Ritz cracker topping on top. Oh my
Okay.
god, it was fabulous. Delicious.
Interesting.
Absolutely fucking fire.
That's
I like the chocolate cake reference.
starting to get hungry over
I mean, I've never seen anybody eat chocolate cake on Thanksgiving. I'm sorry.
It sounds
that
good.
sounds
big.
really
I'll
good.
take chocolate cake.
I could go for a nice wet, nice
Have you ever had-
moist chocolate cake.
Have you ever
right
had
now.
KFC's chocolate cake?
Yeah, it's
Fantastic.
synthetic, but it's outstanding because it's thick, it's moist, and
Yes.
it's what I'm looking
Thick
for.
and it's
Exactly.
moist.
Thick and moist.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, let's get into some news. So, biggest piece of news of the morning comes out of Washington, D.C. Commanders head coach Ron Rivera relieved defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio and cornerbacks coach Brent Wieselmeyer of their duties this morning. He is going to be the new play caller for the defense because Jack Del Rio was previously, and he wished them all the best moving forward. So they got a nice little Thanksgiving gift there. They are no longer coaching. Did everybody catch? When did they turn Thanksgiving into the John Madden Day?
I think this was the first year with
Listen,
the patches
John-
and the
John
Madden
Madden
field.
used to be the catalyst for all the Thanksgiving Day games. Him and Pat Summer all for fucking decades. All right, John Madden is the one who brought the giant fucking turkey with the fucking 8 legs.
The
out.
turdunk,
The turducken.
the
Correct.
fucking turdunk.
He started that. In fact, I think it was in Detroit with Jerry Ball that one year that they did that. And he was a catalyst, dude. He loved Thanksgiving. He loved to eat.
So the ratings came in for the halftime shows yesterday.
Oh God.
And you guys were there, so I'm sure you can fill us in a little bit more. But officially, the Jack Harlow Detroit halftime show got the worst rating for a Thanksgiving halftime show in the history of the Thanksgiving Day games. The absolute worst.
I don't know who
Dog
Jack
shit.
Harlow is, but I have to say this because for some god awful reason I stepped away from cooking to look at that, and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? It was god awful. I don't know what it is. Don't ever do it again.
Tell you what, better than last.
I'm tired of that. I'd rather see the fucking marching bands in the half times than see the entertainment that they put out. I'd rather see a band.
Well,
So, real quick, first things first, I don't know what everyone else thinks of Jack Harlow. I can't stand not that I can't stand. I don't listen to his music, and I don't think it's that good. I don't know how he translates to Detroit and how he's worthy of coming up here. And Bruce made a great point that it was better than last year's. I was sick last year. I was told that BB Rexa put on one of the worst halftime shows ever last year.
This actually beat that out.
So
which is weird.
I didn't see Jack Harlow. I wasn't in my seat. I didn't want to waste my time, and I was also fucking livid at that point in time. So I didn't want to be more livid. Everything I've seen has been on clips on social media, and it looked like he didn't want to be there more than I didn't want to be there at that point in time. So I wasn't into it. I don't know how they can't always get that right, whereas in Dallas, I mean, we're still talking about Creed 22 years ago. We're still talking about that 22 years later when the guy got in the bird costume and he was flying around. Have you seen that before?
Yes.
I mean, it's a cult classic now. And Dolly Parton had the world talking and had grown men's tongues out of their mouths, and we had Jack Harlow.
I don't know what you're talking about there. That was god awful too.
She's 77
I seen
years
her. I'm
old,
like,
dude.
what fucking plastic thing is this out here? Jesus Christ.
People gobbled
I
that
was
shit
like,
up.
Who the fuck would even look at
And
that, dude?
they
I was
sank
like,
money-
What am I looking at? I thought it was a transvestite.
They
at
sank
first.
money into
I
the
didn't know
set
what it was.
design. They sank money into the set design. She
Yes.
played good music.
They
The,
did
the
the
whole
stage
nine.
was very
People were in
9
their
to
seat.
5? That wasn't good when it came out 40
I'm telling-
years ago.
I don't like
it.
it.
was fucking awful.
I don't like her music. I don't give a shit about her music, but everyone down there did. People watching on TV loved it. I'm sure she got a really high rating.
She did. She was, I believe it was top 15 of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
My
that's
God.
saying a lot.
My Lord.
What's-
like I said, go back to the marching bands. I'm fucking sick of halftime entertainment. It's normally garbage. It's trash. It's just a big waste of time. Fuck.
Well, last year BB Rexa was up by the standing room. You know what I'm talking about? By the.
I was sick last year. I wasn't.
Yeah,
there.
but you know,
Listen,
That's
guy-
where she started. Did she work her way
Listen,
down?
It ain't a concert,
She just
dude.
performed there.
It's a fucking football game.
towards the
Whatever.
food.
We're not going to a concert. It's a fucking football
If they're
game.
gonna continue that,
To watch from the screen, and then yesterday, Jack Harlow was by the tunnel facing 5 sections of the entire stadium, so you couldn't even see him. He wasn't even center field.
Who cares?
if they're gonna
He was
continue,
awful. Who gives a
I have
fuck?
to-
this has been an issue for years. So if they're gonna continue to do it, if they're gonna continue to do the halftime show, they better get it right. They better make sure they do it right.
Spend the
They better
money and
get
get somebody that's relevant. Just stop fucking around,
Creed's
man.
back on tour.
Who the fuck is Jack Harlow?
I would've took-
Who the fuck is Jack Harlow? The only Harlow I know is Harlow Tire and fucking Wayne.
in Wixon.
I don't know who the fuck Jack Harlow is. Nobody my age wants to see him, and only people my age can even afford to go to these fucking games anymore. $500 a ticket. Are you fucking kidding me? Garbage.
Mic drop.
So they asked players during the San Francisco-Seattle game what their favorite Thanksgiving side dish was.
Okay.
There were 2 that stuck out that caused a little bit of a stir from people.
Okay.
Bobby Wagner's favorite Thanksgiving side dish.
Spaghetti.
So you saw this already.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
I love
don't.
it.
That's one of the worst answers you could give. But Fred Warner came out and said venison.
Ooh,
Another one.
ooh.
In what world?
But it's not Fred Gertz's venison.
Where's
in
he
what
from?
world are you gonna eat deer
You,
as
re-
your
you,
fucking
you realize
side
Fred
dish on
Warner is
Thanksgiving?
Latino, no?
Is he
You
really?
understand that, correct?
So they're eating deer in Mexico on fucking Thanksgiving?
Fuck yeah, they do, dude. Listen, they eat anything on 4 legs in Mexico.
They don't
That
have
motherfucker's
Thanksgiving
running
in
or
Mexico.
crawling.
Excuse
they're
me, it
killing
wasn't.
and
Hold on,
eating it.
I was wrong. It wasn't Fred Warner. It was Dre Greenlaw. Venison.
Okay. I love venison.
And
If it's done right.
Brock Purdy gave the most Brock Purdy answer he could.
Turkey.
Cornbread.
Okay.
But Dre Greenlaw with the venison pick and Bobby Wagner with spaghetti.
Did you see people eating the fucking turkey?
Bobby
that they were
Wagner said he
throwing into
doesn't
the
like
stands?
turkey.
Well, he said his favorite side dish
Yeah.
is spaghetti.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just sacrilege to me. So actually, the George Kittle running off with the entire turkey and just chucking pieces of it into the stands, fabulous. And then the Cowboys probably had the best move of the day with the they put bags of turkey in the Salvation Army kettlebells in the end zones. And at one point when the game was a blowout in the fourth quarter, they went into the thing after scoring the touchdown and were eating the turkey legs as they were running off the field. That's an iconic moment. That's
Okay.
iconic. Loved it.
How long do we think the turkey was sitting in there?
It had to be. They put it in their pregame, so it had to be pure dog shit by then. I mean, yeah, it's probably been in there.
I'll
for
eat it.
4
Hold
hours.
on. As long as there's still like congealed butter on it, I'll eat a cold
There's-
turkey
yeah.
leg.
Same. I'll just pick.
Yeah.
them
I'll
right out
fucking
of the
bite.
front,
I'll
yeah.
bite right into it.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Turkey leg dropped on the
By the
floor.
way, speaking of turkey legs, when you're eating smoked turkey legs, the last thing you want to try to eat is a cold smoked turkey leg. You might as well eat your shoe.
Listen, I don't discriminate. When it comes to the bird meat, I'll throw it down no matter what.
I'm not throwing it down when it's cold.
Give me a little salt.
Okay. Should we get down to business now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, should we start in here or should we? I think we should just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the Detroit Lions hosted the Green Bay Packers in game 1 of the Thanksgiving Day slate. Omar came in and said that they don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Mexico.
That's what I said.
So, Dre Greenlaw.
But they do eat anything with 4 legs in Mexico.
Chupacabra.
Green Bay came to Detroit for the first game of the Thanksgiving Day slate, and it was ugly at first. Green Bay came out to a 23-6 lead at the half. The Lions made it interesting for a second, ultimately pissed this game away, in my opinion. Green Bay came out on top 29-22, and Zolo has 5 things, I'm sure. Or 10. So obviously we're going to spend some time here. So do you want to give a thing and then we'll rehash it a little bit and
Yeah.
then go from thing to thing? Yeah, take intermissions in between things. All right.
That's fine. All of the things are bad, as you can imagine. That's the worst performance, I would say, since the Dallas game last year in Dallas. Because there's games that they've lost worse, like Baltimore this year, the Panthers game last year, but they were just out schemed. Thing number 1 is there's just very little good about yesterday, and it was all around bad. I can't think of one position group on the Lions that outplayed the other team's position groups. I can't think of any matchup that they had an advantage on. So Lions offensive line mainly versus Packers D-line, Lions corners versus Packers receivers. Packers corners outdid the Lions receivers, in my opinion. I can't think of any redeeming quality from that game yesterday, and that's thing number 1. Go ahead, Uncle Sam. You're fiending over there.
I'm not saying anything. I'm listening to you.
Oh,
That's probably the first game all year that you haven't had. There's not one good thing to report from yesterday.
yeah.
Not one.
I know you think it's Baltimore. Like you thought the Baltimore
That
game
was
was
worse
really
than
bad.
Baltimore, in
This
my
yesterday was way worse than Baltimore, in my opinion. Even though they were in it, because in Baltimore,
Number 1, the anticipation of them coming out and having an opportunity to really pull away in their division. It was so disappointing to see them not prepared. That was very, very important to me. It looked like to me there was no preparation on either side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that I have on my fucking things, they were beat
Zolo's
in the
5 things,
trenches
Uncle Sam's
on both
fucking-
sides of the ball. That is worrisome to me. You know, you think the offensive line is
Hold
as
on.
good as they are.
they
They're
weren't
not.
beat. They weren't beat on both sides of the trench.
Yes, they were.
No, they were dominated on both sides.
There you
on
go.
Both sides.
Better word.
They were
Absolutely.
dominated.
They were fucking
both sides.
manhandled on both sides of the lines. And that to me is the biggest concern coming out of this game is the offensive line is not as good as we thought it was.
No, hold on.
The defensive line, we already knew that was shit.
All right. Hold on.
Hold on, what?
Go. What's
Go
the
ahead.
second thing?
We could debate till the end of time, similarly like we do with Brock Purdy.
Which
You
we'll
c-
do that today.
You
too.
you could have bad games. The offensive line clearly just had a bad game yesterday because they were more banged up when they played this team the first time, and they dominated this team's defensive line. It was just flat. They
They were prepared.
They didn't want to be there. The Packers defense was prepared. The Lions offense was not. I don't think that's any indication on how bad their offensive line is, because I still think when it's healthy, it's by far the best in football. I don't even think it's close. But they didn't want to be there yesterday. The only guy that kind of looked like wanted to be there on the offensive line was Penei Sewell. Taylor Decker got fucking bent over by Rashawn Gary, which is a good omen in my opinion because it's Michigan over Ohio State. But Taylor Decker was atrocious yesterday. Every single pressure that came from the left side of the line. Every time. That's the blind side. That's why he fumbled. Goff fumbled the first time. That's why he got beat pretty bad. I mean, he got pressured more than he's been pressured in his entire career yesterday. And when Jared Goff faces pressure, he is bad.
Sees ghosts.
He is bad. He sees ghosts. So if that's your recipe going forward is we're going to beat the Lions by pressuring Jared Goff, two things need to happen. Number one, the Lions better be prepared for whatever outcome that yields. And number two, their offensive line needs to step it up. And they were bad yesterday. They were very bad. It's uncharacteristically bad. It's why I'm not worried about that group is because that was just uncharacteristic. They just were not ready to play yesterday. And that's why they lacked offensively. I think it all starts with the offensive line. I mean, the turnovers are bad. I would put the turnovers. I would put Ben Johnson having his worst play calling game of the year.
Agreed.
I would put that all under the fact that the offensive line was bad yesterday. I think that's the biggest problem offensively. Go ahead. You're shaking your head.
Beat all three phases of the game. They were beaten.
100%.
Period.
100%.
A lot of that, and Dan Campbell cost them that game yesterday.
Thing number two.
I don't care what anybody says.
Thing number two is that effort that they put in yesterday. Am I saying it's going to be that way going forward? No, I'm fully expecting changes. But that effort that they put in yesterday will not beat any team left on their schedule. You will not win at New Orleans with that effort. I don't care how bad the Saints are. You will not win at Chicago a week after that. You probably won't beat Denver at home. You certainly won't beat Dallas and or Minnesota
if they put a performance on like that.
If that's the effort that is given, like Uncle Sam said, they lost in all three phases yesterday. If that is the effort that you give in all three phases of the football going forward, you will go 0-6. Not even up for debate. Now, that is dramatic and that is an overreaction, but that's 2 straight weeks of bad efforts. Okay, I get this was on short rests. I get they're a little banged up right now on the offensive line, but you cannot put forth that effort. You cannot put forth that effort. And like Uncle Sam said,
the effort part of it is being prepared. They were not fucking prepared.
Was just gonna say
this is starting to happen more and more now.
Was just gonna say that's on Dan Campbell, the preparation, making sure that the guy that's in charge of your defense, Aaron Glenn, has them ready to play. The guy that's in charge of your offensive line, Hank Fraley, has his unit ready to play, and that your play caller, Ben Johnson, has a plan and has a scheme and has an identity of what they're gonna do that week. That's on the head coach. That's on Dan Campbell to have his team ready to play. And if that's the effort you're going to give, and this team always gives effort. They've done it from day one of the Dan Campbell era. So I'm not worried about this. But if that's the effort that they are planning to give going forward, they're not going to win many games, if any games. That's thing number 2. Do you have anything to say, Sam?
My biggest thing from yesterday was exactly what is thing number 2. They didn't have any effort. They didn't look like they wanted to be there. You want to know what? But that's not this. This is why I don't think anybody should be panicking right now, because what we saw yesterday is not this Lions team, right? This Lions team prides itself on the grit. It prides itself on the effort. It prides itself on being prepared and having more energy than the team that they're going up against. I think this is an isolated incident, and honest to God, if you're going to find a silver lining from this game, it's that the fact that they ended up playing like that this week and against Chicago last week, maybe they took them lightly, maybe they got a little high and mighty. This will be the come to God moment for them.
Well, I just saw a post that said that they're focusing on the playoffs, so they weren't worried about it.
Who said that? Where's the post from?
Stupid Instagram.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
They're not focused on the playoffs because they're not in the playoffs.
Dan Campbell won't allow that.
I'll try to go find it right now.
And that's number 1. I think this was actually a good thing because this will right the ship, right? It happens all the time with really good teams where they get their asshole punched by a fucking team that they should beat, and it gets them back on track. My biggest thing from yesterday was I thought Dan Campbell was cocky. I thought Dan Campbell coached a cocky game, and he got out-coached by Matt LaFleur. That was my biggest thing. But I want to hear what number 3 is.
So real quick, I want to circle back on the response. They've responded very well to all of their losses this year. Each loss was followed with a 3-game winning streak. And it's like Seattle. They were same drill. They were cocky and they were high and mighty going into that Seattle game. And they turned it around and they righted it after that Seattle loss. They corrected what they needed to correct. And that's what you need. You need to get exposed from time to time. This is a young team. They added Bruce Irvin a couple weeks ago, and he's the oldest player by 5 years. They have one of the youngest average ages in the league, so they're learning and growing. And again, they're just a victim of their own success.
Yes, 100%.
So they're way ahead of where they need to be, and there's going to be some hiccups, and yesterday was loaded with hiccups.
I don't think they had one offensive drive where they did not fuck up yesterday.
The first drive. The first drive.
Game. The first drive of the game. And after that, it just slowly went downhill. The other thing that I noticed is, and it's becoming a red flag, is right now this Lions team is a second half team. For some reason, they're not waking up. It was the same thing in Chicago last week. On both sides of the ball, they're not waking up till halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fucking issue. Because you're going to go play Dallas, you're going to go play Denver, and if you're down, here's the thing, if you're down by fucking 2 touchdowns at the half, you cannot be the team that they had here when Matt Stafford was here, where every fucking game's going to come down to 2 minutes, and they're starting to set that precedent right now. And that's another thing.
I do think that's only a recent thing, though.
Yes.
That's only in the last
couple
month.
games this year. Yes, the last month.
Because they were dominant in the
agree.
first half against the Chargers. They just the defense just choked in the
100%.
second half. But for sure, and you don't want Jared Goff playing from behind.
No.
We've had this conversation as a trio. There might be 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this league that I'm cool with playing from behind. Jared
Agreed.
Goff is not,
It's
one,
not
of
one
them.
of them.
Which leads me to thing number 3. They're being over-reliant on Jared Goff right now, and they need to go back. This is the second week in a row. They need to go back to running the football. That is their identity. It's David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. It is not Jared Goff. Do I want to see Jared Goff play well and make the big throws? Yes. But yesterday, in short yardage situations, it was happening again. They were throwing the football instead of running it. There were multiple instances.
Jared Goff threw the ball 44 times yesterday.
Dude, you're bound to turn it over. I mean, the turnovers were bad, and the turnovers were on him, but you're bound to turn the ball over if you're throwing it that much. That's not their identity. Go back to what makes you great. I get it. I get your offensive line is banged up, but you can't tell me you couldn't go out and get 2 yards on 3rd down on multiple occasions yesterday. You can't convince me. You cannot convince me. If you establish the run, everything else will fall into place.
Yesterday, manhandled. They had no answer for Rashad Gary. They were getting fucking manhandled.
You want to bring the mic closer?
The thing is,
Kenny Clark was manhandling him.
Yeah,
Rashad Gary was
kind of far
They
away.
had no,
Quay
they
Walker.
had no
He's talking
fucking
loud now,
answer.
so.
Quay Walker.
And you know what? I will say this. They were blitzing when they had to. They were blitzing corners. They were blitzing safeties, something that Aaron Glenn very seldomly does.
They did their homework. They realized if you put pressure on Goff, no matter where it comes, it's going to cause
gonna shit the bed.
irreparable harm, and that's what happened.
the part of this that I don't understand is Montgomery and Gibbs both averaged 5 yards per carry yesterday. Both.
Well, they did the week prior also.
Right. Just keep fucking feeding
fuck are you
them.
doing?
Keep feeding them.
Well, here's the thing. The turnovers got them behind so quickly, they were unable to stay with what they... I believe they wanted to run the football. They just got far behind and had to start throwing.
This is where I'm going to put this on Ben Johnson. With those 2 running backs,
Yeah.
you don't need to feel that. You do not need to feel that.
Yeah,
Keep
I
running
agree.
the fucking ball.
But the problem is when your defense is inept and isn't getting any kind of pressure, and even when they were getting pressure, they weren't getting home. This is a problem. This is a fucking problem going forward that they're going to have, and this is the reason why I think everybody needs to fucking wake up a little bit here and realize that this team is not that good. They're not that fucking good.
We said from the beginning that they were playing way better than
You need to wake up and understand something right now. There's 2 things that win in this league, and you say it all the time: throwing the ball and rushing the passer. This is what's going to win now in today's fucking rinky-dink football. This is what wins. And they're terrible at both of those. They're terrible. Listen, their fucking offense is inept if they can't do play action. They're inept.
Going back to the defensive line real quick, I haven't heard, other than Aiden Hutchinson and Aleem McNeil's name, I haven't heard Josh Pascal's name. You know whose name I heard yesterday at Ford Field? Levi Onwuzurike.
Yeah.
That's a name I heard.
He played yesterday.
He played.
For the first time.
And I know Aleem's a little banged up, but other than those three guys, I didn't hear Charles Harris's name other than when he ran out of the tunnel. I didn't hear either of the Okwara's names. I didn't hear anything about John Comiskey.
I didn't even see Julian Okwara play.
Exactly. Exactly.
Julian
McNeil had
Okwara
concussion.
did not hit the stat sheet yet.
And
Neither
Pascal.
Okwara hit the stat sheet yesterday. Pascal had 2 total tackles. Onwuzurike had a half a tackle.
Yeah, I mean,
The tackle, whatever.
that's it. It can't all fall on Hutchinson and McNeil. It just can't. It just can't. And Aiden Hutchinson is dominating double teams. He's still getting the quarterbacks on double teams.
You drafted a linebacker in the top 20. Okay? I don't hear the guy's fucking name. I'm not saying anything, but I will say this. If you got a guy with his physical abilities, okay, he should be rushing the fucking passer just about every down.
Yeah.
And he's not.
He's 6'5", 250.
He's not slow.
Why is he not rushing the passer?
He's not
Why
slow.
the fuck is he dropping back into coverage? I'm tired of seeing it. Listen, if you're gonna play this New England Patriot bend but don't break defense, you're gonna fucking lose every game from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna lose every fucking game from here on out.
Again,
Because the teams are only gonna get better, not worse.
I think the issues defensively is they're just really lacking. They're just really lacking some talent, and what talent they do have is it's underdeveloped, and it's ready to. It's not going to be ready this year. So you need veteran presence, and that's where the whole. I'm officially on the other side of the fence, and I'm not going to come back on the trade deadline argument now because they really needed help at the deadline and they didn't do it. Like it's showing now. And if you're over reliant on James Houston, then why the hell did you have him on special teams to get injured in week 2? Why, if he's a big part of your plans and your future, why the hell did you have him out there on special teams? If he's your answer at pass rusher, they're just not talented defensively, which is fine. This team's window is built really.
We knew
long-term.
they didn't do anything in the draft. We knew that. Outside your linebacker and Brian Branch, outside those two players, they did nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their big addition defensively was C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who hasn't played since week 2, which is fine. You know, it is what it is. I would love to see, and his presence is huge, and that's where you're blitzing the corner. Your other pressures comes in. That's what C.J. Gardner does best. C.J. Gardner-Johnson
What's good
does best.
about having
He
Johnson
plays in the box.
was is, if you remember, you were playing three safeties at a time.
Yeah.
Which you could play Branch where he's comfortable up on the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
When you got Brian Branch covering fucking slot receivers and covering fucking guys coming downfield, that's not his strength.
No, it's a disaster.
Not his strength.
It's a disaster. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson can go out. He could bounce into coverage. You could put him in the box. He could rush the passer.
Cover tight ends.
He could stop the run. He's literally one of the best all-around secondary players in football, and they're missing that because that's something that would bail out that right side of the defensive line is having him there to have to be accounted
I'm not
for.
downing Kirby Joseph at all.
No, not at all.
Tracy
Walker.
I'm not
and neither
downing
Tracy
Walker.
They're both
either.
great players. They're both great players. They just don't do what Gardner-Johnson does.
I hate what they're doing. I hate what they're doing defensively. I don't like it. It needs to be fixed because if you don't fix it, you're just going to continue to do what you're fucking doing every week. You'll be lucky to win another game. You'll be lucky to win another game here.
All right, see, but that's such a that's
No. It's blatantly obvious.
No,
if they continue to do what they're doing defensively, they won't win another game this year.
That's drama.
It's not drama.
My problem
is fucking being honest.
My problem is what they've done defensively has yielded them 8 other wins.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't say that because I don't think the 8 other wins were because of the defense. The offense has been carrying the defense from fucking day one.
You don't want your wins to have to be because of your defense. You want your wins to come from putting up more points than the other team.
In this league, if you don't get stops at crucial times, you lose football.
And that's only something that's happened over the last 3 weeks. I'm just telling you. The not getting the stops at crucial times is a recent thing.
Okay, so you think their defense is good enough to stop Dallas?
No, not
You
the way
think
they
their
played
defense is
yesterday.
good enough to stop
No.
Denver?
No, but
Yeah.
it's not.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't. I don't think it's good enough to stop Denver at the moment. But
Yeah.
but the whole point is, if your offense is ticking and dominating the game by running the ball and
Correct.
taking time
You're
off the
eating
clock
clock up, you're keeping
and winning
them on
time
the
of possession and keeping your defense off the field,
You're keeping
your
them
defense,
fresh.
and you're not turning the ball over, your defense is much more likely to go out and get that stop. And they were doing that before. I'm not saying they were winning because of their defense. I'm saying that their defense was doing more than enough to win them games. Their offense was the reason they were winning games, though. I don't need their defense to win them games. I want Jared Goff to be putting up 30 to 40 points every week because that's going to
Jared
win you
Goff
points
can't
this
do
league.
that when he's fucking
Yes,
got guys draped all over him every time he drops back.
this is the thing. There's 2 games on this schedule that if their defense comes out and lays a fucking egg, they're going to lose.
I don't agree with that.
They're
I
gonna
think there's
outscore-
more than that.
They're going to outscore
You still
New
have to
Orleans.
play Minnesota twice.
Bull-
And Minnesota's
okay, great.
played a lot better.
Listen to me.
As of late,
That's
you can do
horseshit.
that all you fucking want. In what realm did you think that Jordan Love was going to come in here and light up your defense?
Because guess
In what realm?
yesterday, the other side of this coin is that the Packers played their best game of the year yesterday.
Okay.
Without question. They actually utilized their receivers. Jordan Love didn't make fucking stupid mistakes, and they did what they had to do to win, and their defense was fucking dominant.
Can I say something about Jordan Love and Justin Fields? A month ago, I said for each of these guys coming out of their buys that their teams have to make major decisions on them and that they both need monster second halves of the year in order to keep their jobs. And it's happening with both of them. I think you're going to see Justin Fields tear up other teams going forward. And I think you're going to see Jordan Love tear up other teams going forward. It just so happens that both of those initial Jordan Love won 2 weeks ago, too, against the Chargers. He won last week. It just so happened that the Lions are victims to that. You guys are both right. I agree with you that performance defensively, I don't think it's crazy. I think it could be corrected. So you're right about that. 100%. I think they can 100% be corrected. But like you said, if they come out like that going forward, I think they could lose all of those games easily. I think they have a disadvantage in all those games. But I think that it's uncharacteristic. It becomes a pattern now when you're at 3 in a row and 2 of them are losses. That's got me going. New Orleans is a perfect recipe for them to write this.
100%.
Perfect recipe.
100%.
They're lacking. They're down on a quarterback. That's going to be the Packers' game plan every game of the week, which leads me to thing number 4. The Packers' game plan, which you and I talked about before the show, is we're going to attack these Lions corners offensively. That's what their game plan was. You had one more time? Tell me the rookie tight end's name for the Packers.
Kraft?
Tucker Kraft, who's a rookie. Jaden Reed, who's a rookie, Christian Watson, who's a second year, and Romeo Doubs, who's a second year, lighting up
Your
Cam
second year.
Sutton, your linebackers, your safeties, okay? And Jerry Jacobs was the biggest victim. I know he's only a second or third. I think he's a third-year player. Jerry Jacobs was the biggest victim yesterday. Their game plan was, we're going to make Jerry Jacobs stock Christian Watson. In my opinion, the Lions corners, not the secondary as a whole, but the Lions corners are the worst unit on the team. I know you might say the pass rushers. I think it's their cornerbacks.
I think it's the pass rushers.
I think it's the cornerbacks. I think the cornerbacks are lackluster.
What helps a weak secondary?
Pass rushers.
Pass rush.
Pass rushers. But
These guys have to fucking cover way too long. There was parts in that game yesterday where Love actually had a good 4 seconds.
100%.
To throw the football.
100%.
You give any quarterback that amount of time to throw the football, he's going to find somebody.
But you agreed with me off air before the show. Even when he didn't have time and he was scrambling, and even when it was only a couple seconds, his receivers were making plays.
But it wasn't like these guys were totally out of position where they were getting fucking torched from being out of position.
They weren't.
It wasn't that.
They weren't, but there's ball skills that go into it. I mean, when was the last time they had an interception? Did they have one last week? No, the last time they had
Who leads the team in
Chargers.
interceptions?
The Chargers, Kirby Joseph.
Kirby Joseph does right now?
No, it's Jerry Jacobs. It's
Jerry
Jerry Jacobs.
Jacobs
But
does.
when was his last interception?
Yeah, I get that. But what are you going to do at this point? What are you going to do at this point?
I think
You
the
want
secondary.
to jump in routes?
I think you need an elite pass rusher and you need an elite corner to really like this. This defense will go, and it's not happening in the next 3 months. That's something that happens in your offseason. That's something that happens in the draft process. And I think going forward,
Watch their defensive line. It's fucking disgusting. Watching these guys, they're not even getting upfield, and when they're getting upfield, they're fucking impotent.
but their corners didn't make one play yesterday.
Dude,
They didn't make a play.
The defensive line, if you watched them yesterday, even if they would get that push on the edge, dude, the inside guys
They
are
wouldn't
on
close.
the fucking line of
You're right. They
scrimmage.
wouldn't
They're
close.
not getting anywhere.
Bruce is a
Where the
question.
fuck is Isaiah Buggs?
I mean, just in general, they have no interior pressure outside of Aleem
No,
McNeil.
he's got a good point.
Where is he?
Where the fuck is Bugs at?
Apparently he
You brought this
practiced
guy
all
back,
week.
and
Yeah.
now he's not good enough?
How about this one? You drafted Broderick Martin in the 3rd round, a pick that everyone thought that you reached on.
Where's he at?
He's been inactive most weeks.
He was
And who's
inactive
number
again this
90
week.
now? Who's this?
That's the practice
This
squad
fucking
guy.
slob they're putting out there now? Who is this? Huh? That type of shit they're putting out there that can't get off the line of scrimmage? What the fuck? What are you doing? What are you doing? I can't fucking stand watching it. I almost fucking puked in my garbage can yesterday watching the garbage they're putting on the field.
Look.
Fuck that. I'm going to tell you the truth right now. That offensive line is not top 5, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Brother, it is.
They're not top
It
5.
is.
They're fucking maybe top 10 at best right now. Even with the injuries, without the injuries, I don't want to fucking hear it because there's other teams that have less talented offensive lines that look fucking better. What about Green Bay? Their best offensive lineman ain't even on the field.
And how many turnovers did Green Bay's quarterback have over the last 2 weeks? Did they have 6 turnovers?
Were you referring?
I don't know. Don't care. Don't give a fuck. I care about what fucking happened yesterday. I don't give a fuck what they're doing.
You can't. There's no world where the Lions don't have a top 3 offensive line.
They don't. They don't. Look at it, dude.
You're picking
Look
on
at
him.
it.
You're picking on him for
Last
2 games.
week he was under fucking duress. Last week he could do nothing. Last week.
You're picking
This
on him
week,
for 2
same
games.
thing.
You're picking on him
Same
for 2
fucking
games.
thing. You're gonna tell me one guy being out is the reason?
And
for
you're going
that?
to tell me 2 weeks of bad play is the reason that they're the worst? Because the week
they're
before,
fucking bad right
the
now,
week
dude.
before against the Chargers, against Boza and Khalil Mack, guess how many
Right.
pressures? Guess how many
Are
times Goff
dominant,
was on
right,
the
in
ground?
your opinion.
0
Okay.
times.
Okay,
Your
and
offensive line.
And what's been going on the last 2 weeks?
Last 2 weeks
Explain
is
it to
bad.
me.
Last 2 weeks is bad and
Explain it to
uncharacteristic.
me.
It's the worst
Taylor
performance
Decker got
since
fucking absolutely molested.
since
yesterday.
Penei Sewell has been here, and Penei Sewell is not the problem, but since Penei Sewell has
You
been
know
the
what? I
reason.
don't want to hear about him either because he had fucking 3 fucking penalties the week before.
He's the
that
highest
could have
rated
cost them a
offensive
fucking
lineman
game.
in the league.
Blah, blah. I don't believe in analytics. I don't believe in anything.
yes,
I
but that's
believe in
not
what
a-
I look at and what I see. They're dog shit.
Dan
Get
wants
some
to go
glass.
out.
Get
Dan wants
some
to go
glass.
outside with you.
Yesterday.
Dan wants to go outside with you right now. He wants to fight
Who?
you. Dan.
Dan who?
We told you Dan is hairier Nicky. He's Lebanese Nicky,
I
but
don't
hairier.
give a fuck. You want to step outside, I'll beat your ass. I don't care. Motherfucker. What do you think you're talking to? One of these kids? Fucking wreck you. Bite your nose off. Go ahead.
You're gonna bite his ear off?
Wow.
Go ahead.
I don't have it.
Go ahead. Repeat what I'm saying.
listen.
You know I'm
Why do you
fucking
want
right.
me to? No, you're
You
not.
guys know I'm right.
You're not-
Wake up.
Listen,
You're not
Wake
right.
up.
You're not
Y'all
right
know
about
I'm
the
right.
offensive
Hold
line.
on. This is where you're off. It's
Go
not-
ahead.
Penei Sewell is far and wide. You can sit here and do this all you
Yeah.
want.
That's what it is.
But he's far and wide the highest graded offensive lineman in the league
Okay.
by a lot.
He was very average yesterday.
But again, you know, this is what makes you so difficult to deal with because it's the whole fucking world is falling down every time something happens.
Hold on.
right?
Dan said he's going to shave Uncle Sam's beard off with his
okay.
own teeth.
Couldn't shave my nut bag. Go ahead.
Okay, so you go on this the world burning situation. It's not a world.
It's not a world burning situation.
Yes,
I'm
but-
just being honest.
Yes,
I'm being
that's
honest.
Great. Your honesty.
They're
is
not going to win
appreciated.
anything if they don't fix their issues. Dan Campbell,
Yes, but-
once again, regressing. Now he's giving
See,
ball games
this
away.
is this is where you lose everybody. This is where you lose it because it's not.
So Dan Campbell didn't cost him that game yesterday.
Dan Campbell 100% cost him that game. But for you to sit here and say that they're regressing when he cost them 3 or 4 games last year.
He was regressing.
Right, but he cost them 3 or 4 games last year. He hasn't done that. He cost them 1 game. All right?
How many?
If your coaching staff costs
when your guys are unprepared to play, and this is what, the third time this year that they've been unprepared to play?
Again, so are the Dolphins.
Am I wrong?
So are the There's been one team.
Am I wrong or no?
There's no
one
perfect. That's
team.
the gist. Is in this league, it's so unpredictable every week.
damn.
If it was predictable, we would all be
Football's
millionaires
really
betting on it.
predictable now.
There's one team that has only had 1 week where they weren't prepared this year. One. And that's Philadelphia. Outside of Philadelphia, every single team in the league comes in and for 2 or 3 weeks a year is completely unprepared. That's it. Like, so all this fucking hysteria from this side of the desk, per usual.
Hysteria. Okay. Can't handle the honesty from Uncle Sam. That's all.
Everything is bad.
Leon,
That's the problem. You think everything is bad and everything is unfixable and everything.
we're replacing you for Uncle Dave.
Leon
wants
Go
to
ahead.
replace
Bring
you
your
with
Uncle
Dave.
Dave on here, and I'll quit.
Anyways,
tip cigars with
did we
Dave
get through
Bergamo.
all 5 things?
Well, there's one more thing, but I'm lowering the expectation. It's minimal. I'm panicking. I think panic is very, very fine. Uncle Sam is clearly panicking. He thinks they're
I'm
going to
not
go
panicking.
0-6.
I'm being honest with what I see.
I think
Yes,
you
but
think-
that's a panic. Your
it's
honesty,
not.
yes, it is.
No,
because
it's
you're
not.
sitting here saying they're not going to win a game the rest of the year.
They sat on
That's
their
called
hand. They
panic.
sat on their hands.
That's called
instead
panic.
of fucking doing what they should have done.
Thing number 5.
That's why where you're at.
Thing number 5. I think panic is more than fine right now after the last 2 weeks. I also think a lot of these problems are correctable, and I'm looking. It's something that this Lions team has done very well under Dan Campbell. Is they've gone back, especially this year. They've corrected a lot of these wrongs. They told you what was wrong against Seattle. They corrected it. They won 3 in a row. They told you what was wrong against Baltimore. They corrected it, and they won 3 in a row. I'm looking for them to correct it, and I'm looking for them to right the ship against the Saints at the Superdome. And if they don't, now you're talking issues. If they don't correct a good amount of these, but I'm thinking they're going to correct it.
If they lose to the Saints in New Orleans, which I'm putting a less than 0.01% chance that happens. I think they're going to come in and Kamara's going to have a very nice game, and outside of that, the Saints are going to look like dog shit, and the Lions win out of there with
they don't capitalize off
with a 14 to
dog
17 point win. Okay, that's what should happen in New Orleans next week. If that doesn't, then I will panic. Until then,
big red button.
I am not fucking worried about this. I am not worried one bit. Because this is not the team that fucks around like this in folds.
Yes.
They are not that team.
So I am worried, but if this is the Lions team that we think it is, which I have been harping on all year, and I do think this is that Lions team, then this is going to get corrected, a lot of this stuff. And they're going to, I tell you on paper, there's a chance that they lose these 6 games. If I see the corrections that I'm looking for, I think there's a chance they win at least 4 of the next 6 games, if I see those corrections. But I got to see them. I haven't seen them through the first 2 weeks. I'm with you.
One other thing because before this week, I thought that the Lions were the 3rd best team in the NFC, right? I had Philadelphia and San Francisco above them. I am definitively ready to say now that I think they have dropped the spot because...
Well, they're tied with the San Fran now.
Well, we're going to move on to the second game. San Francisco is a better team than Detroit.
Absolutely.
But we're going to move on to the second game.
More complete.
Washington went into Dallas, and Dallas did some asshole punching yesterday. Dallas comes out on top in this divisional game, wins 45-10 with 25 fourth quarter points out of Dallas. This game, to me, Dallas keeps putting exclamation marks on these shitty teams, right? And that's what we should be expecting from the Lions, right? The Lions should be putting the exclamation marks on Chicago. They should be putting exclamation marks on Green Bay, and they're not.
They can't.
Dallas is.
I mean,
Yeah, I think the Cowboys look like at the moment,
World beaters.
And I know they're playing inferior opponents. I know they are, but at the moment, I think they look like the best team in NFC. I
agree.
I think you can easily make a case for Dak as an MVP candidate. Do I think that holds up? Hell no. But I think you can easily make a case for. I'm winning the league right now. I'm
Dak's
winning
got
our
to
fantasy
do it
league because of
against
Dak.
a Philadelphia, something like
He's
that.
going to get a shot
If
in
he
2
can
weeks.
do it then I'll buy it.
He's going to get a shot, and I agree with you.
Correct.
I want to see it against better teams, and they play some good teams. He gets to play the Lions.
Every time he plays a really good team, they lose, and that's because he's at his peak.
Yeah.
You know.
Dak was 22 of 32 for 331 yards and 4 touchdowns yesterday.
Anybody could do that against that Washington secondary. They were awful.
And everyone ate too, which I think is key.
Oh, yeah. Brendan Cooks had a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had a touchdown. Jalen Tolbert had 50 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Ferguson had 35 yards. He spread the ball around really, really well. And we keep seeing this from Dallas, that their ability to completely spread the ball around with everybody who's all the receivers
It's so funny.
has
Asshole.
just been fabulous. Tony Pollard had a
Laughing
decent
at the
game too.
comments.
13 of 79 and a touchdown on the ground. And then through the air, he had 6 receptions for 24 yards. As far as the Commanders go, I don't know what's going on, man. The defense was awful. Obviously, Del Rio lost his job this morning, as did the DB coach. But this team just hits the red zone and then they don't know what to do.
They got rid of their 2 best players on defense, didn't they?
They were bad before that.
You could make an argument. I mean, they're
They were bad before that.
interior between Deron Payne and who's the other?
Allen.
Jonathan Allen.
Jonathan Allen. I mean, those 2 guys are legitimate interior defensive linemen.
Oh, it's obviously got rid of their 2 best pass rushers. I mean, come on, dude.
They won a game without those 2 guys, though.
That's true. Well, they had Sweat most of the year.
No, I mean
Sweat
after
was their best passer.
after the trade deadline, they've won a game. They've won at least
they've
one
won
game.
a game since that. I think there's bigger issues right now with them.
That
I
offense
think
should
the
be
coaching
scoring.
staff's lost them.
That offense should be scoring more than 10 points. I called it on Wednesday. I'm just not sure how Ron Rivera got to keep his job after yesterday. No idea. You
wanna
talk
know
about
something?
unprepared.
Oh yeah, I think that this ownership made a deal with the devil, and they're not going to let Ron Rivera. I think this is Ron Rivera's team for now, and I don't think no matter how bad it gets this year that Ron Rivera will lose his job. I think it's going to be they're going to give him next year to try and get this thing figured out, because outside of that, I can't understand.
I don't.
They
think
have
so.
draft
I think
assets.
you're wrong. I think he's the next one to go.
They have
I
draft assets and cap space.
If they were going to do it, this would have been the time to do it. You're on national TV in Dallas in a divisional game.
The thing is, you have Bieniemy, who's been a coaching candidate for 3 years. You have him. You could
Correct.
promote him. You could give him the trial run right now to see
they're
what
not
he's like
doing
as a head coach, and they haven't done it.
So I don't see it. I think this is Ron Rivera's show. And I think they love Sam Howell, obviously.
Wait, you agreed with him off the air. You said that they probably made a deal. No, you said the opposite. You said they have a deal with him to fire him down the road. I don't know.
I
if
got
that
a feeling
exists.
that they just basically they're going to part ways at the end of the year, but I don't know, dude.
I
Why
don't-
not
sort
do
of
it
like
now?
the
though?
Belichick thing.
They're in it. Why not do it right now? And
I
if
don't
it
know.
doesn't work,
I
it
don't
doesn't
think they're
work.
in it. At this point, I don't think they're in it.
I don't think they're good enough to be in it,
No.
but they're not
Where
far
are
from a
they?
wild card
They're
spot.
4-8 now.
They're 4-8 now. They're done.
500 gets you in. 9-8 gets you in.
But I don't think they're better than Atlanta. I don't think they're better than Tampa at this point.
That's the thing. That NFC
Yeah.
the NFC South situation, it's making things look bleak for them,
Correct.
because they're all going to beat each other up still towards the end of the year. But it's just this Washington offense. They look good at times. I mean, Sam Howell had 300 yards passing yesterday.
I didn't think he looked bad yesterday. I mean,
But they
he was
just
moving
can't-
around good. I mean, he was getting fucking hammered.
Yeah, he was.
He was getting fucking hammered.
You know what? The offensive line
the only
thing is a
quarterback
problem.
I seen get hammered worse than him yesterday was fucking Geno Smith. My man got ass punched yesterday.
You want to jump there?
Sure. Are we done talking about Dallas and Washington?
What are you going to talk about?
I don't think there's anything to talk about.
I mean,
We covered it. I think the Cowboys look
Fuck.
good, and I think that if the difference between this Cowboys team and the ones that have choked in years past is this one's flying under the radar.
Yeah.
Because the Eagles are so good, and maybe with less pressure they won't choke away in the playoffs. Who
I
knows?
think
But
their defense is for real, especially now with Dante Fowler coming.
their
up,
offense is for
coming-
real
coming
too.
on, and they're devastating.
We can move on.
Well, Angie brought some just before we move on. Angie brought some up in the chat. Why would they fire Jack Del Rio? The defense was their only good thing for years, and now they trade away their best pieces, and it's his fault they're bad. Yet Jack Del Rio was the scapegoat for this. 100%.
I think so.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
literally traded away two pieces that are very close to probably generational talent, and then their defense stops performing at the level it was, and they fire him. At the end of the day, he got 45 hung up on him yesterday.
I want to say Montez
do it.
Sweat was a second-round pick.
I
I want to say he was
Yes.
either a late first or a second. And then fucking Chase Young was the second overall pick. And you take those two where you finally got the one guy healthy and you ship him out.
Montez,
You don't want to pay him.
Montez Sweat was the end of the first round.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, that's what I
26th
thought.
overall pick.
Hello?
So yeah, you trade away two first round pass rushers and then fire your defensive coordinator.
Yeah, because that whole defensive line was Jonathan Allen was a first-round pick. Deron Payne was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What are you doing?
I think there's some sentiments towards Ron Rivera because he's just an all-around good guy, and there's the cancer thing, and then there was how they played for him
God.
the year of the cancer thing. I think they went to the playoffs that year. They won with Heineke, if I remember correctly. I think there's just a lot of sentiments towards Ron Rivera. It's clearly starts at the top. I think whatever's going on there, that's just my opinion. Angie, they're scapegoating Jack Del Rio because the offense has done things this year, and even before those two guys got traded, they were winning some games, and those guys weren't performing. And then even afterward, when Sweat and Young got traded, they had won a game. I remember that Bears game where their corners just got completely exposed, no matter who it was. Their first-round corner was not prepared to play this year. Benjamin St-Juste did not look good, or all year he hasn't looked good. And I just think that they have things that are
He's just been
solvable.
exposed because he's the weak link.
Yeah.
The other thing we missed, Deron Bland, 5th pick six now.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, yeah, is that
No, that's great. I thought it was great that he broke the record.
do you know that he is now tied with the New England Patriots entire receiving corps for touchdown this year? Patriots wide receivers, 5 touchdowns. Deron Bland, a defensive player with 5 touchdowns. So
Yeah, he's having a good year, dude.
great year. Fantastic year for him.
Tyler must have him on his team, but
Pick 6 machine.
Tyler's ass is grass because Rashawn Gary came for it yesterday. So
I know somebody else's ass is grass too. Anyways, the Tony Pollard, Christian McCaffrey stack coming at you hard with a nice 45.
Whatever.
Anyways,
I
moving
would
on.
have vetoed that.
What? Tyreek Hill and Raheem Mostert for Christian McCaffrey swap?
Yep.
Anyways. In another divisional game, the San Francisco 49ers headed up to Seattle to play the Seahawks in the late night game on Thanksgiving. San Francisco comes out on top in this one in a pretty dominating fashion, 31-13. I thought that that's the Seahawks team that I've been expecting to see now. I said this on Friday, or I don't even know what fucking day it is, Wednesday, that I think now is where we're going to really see this Seahawks team skid because they play Frisco, Dallas, Frisco, Philly. I think they lose all those games. I think this was the beginning of that because they looked bad yesterday.
I also think they're going to lose all those games, but as bad as they looked more serviceable than I thought they would with the
Kenneth
bad
Walker as well.
Yeah, with no Kenneth Walker and a banged up Geno Smith. It was 24-17, right? Or was it 20?
No, it was.
It was 24-17 in the third quarter.
2017, no?
No, it was 24-17, but then the Niners ninered.
Closest it got was 24-13, and Frisco scored to start out the
Oh, so it's 24-13. All right.
24-13.
Yeah. They came out hot out of the second in the second half, but the story for me is still more San
Short
Francisco's
fields to
coming
work
back
with
to
too.
earth.
That really helped him out big time.
Yeah. I think the Niners are just coming back to they're coming back to prominence here. And I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited for Eagles-Niners. That should be a fun one.
That should be a fantastic game. Christian McCaffrey yesterday, 19 rushes, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also picked up 5 of 25 through the air. Geno Smith, 18 for 27, 180 yards and a pick. Zach Charbonnet in the starting role, 14 for 47. Smith and Jigba led the team in receiving yards, 2 receptions for 41 yards. Metcalf, 3 for 32, and Lockett, 3 for 30. As far as 49ers receivers go, Debo had himself a little game. He had a rushing touchdown on 15 yards on the ground, 7 for 79 through the air. Ayuk, 2 for 50, and a touchdown through the air for him. Brock Purdy, 21 of 30 for 209 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And you know what? The Niners team, the defense is clicking again. Offense is doing what they need to do. McCaffrey looks fantastic. And in my opinion right now, they're right back where they were before that 3-game skid. This
Better now.
to relate this to what the Lions are going through right now, if we saw this 49ers team that looked like world beaters at the beginning of the year have a 3-game drought, a 3-game skid where they picked up 3 losses in and came back to this form, this is part of the reason why I'm not panicking right now for the Detroit Lions. Because if San Francisco looks as good after they looked like dog shit for 3 weeks. I'm not worried.
No, they didn't, dude. They lost 3 pretty close games. The defense was lighting up more yards than normal. That's why they fucking lost. But their defense is starting to get back into form. They've had a few guys that were banged up that are back in there now. Now you're seeing a different team.
Yeah, it's pretty good to be a Niners fan.
Yeah.
It'd
be nice to have that. Be nice to have some of them guys on that defensive line here.
They're gonna have a legit case at that 2 seed too. I mean, they got it. They still have to play the Eagles. I think their Lions and Niners are tied now at this point. Yeah. If the Niners are as good as I think they are, though, I mean, they could beat Philly.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they've looked better. The only team in the NFC that's looked better than the Niners over the last couple weeks, in my opinion, is the Cowboys. So we'll see what they do going forward.
Philly wins that game.
They just got to do it in a big game. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Seattle goes, are we ready to? Obviously, with their record right now, they're still in it, but I just don't see Seattle winning any of these upcoming games they have. I see them dropping 4 or 5 in a row here.
I motion that we let the playoff machine decide.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, that's not a bad
You never know, dude. Listen, Seattle, if they're playing at home, they have a clear advantage. Because that's the only thing that kept them in that game yesterday. They were playing at home.
Why don't we do today's game?
Okay.
We'll do it on playoff machine. We'll talk about it. We'll do it on playoff machine. Then we'll go through. We'll pick the rest of the slate, and then let's do what we did last Friday. And then if there's time, Michigan, Ohio State, maybe.
100%. So, Bruce, you have a minute to get it up because I think we'll talk about this game, and then we'll start the playoff machine. So, the Miami Dolphins are heading to MetLife Stadium to play the Jets. Miami sitting first place in the AFC East, while the Jets are still in third because the Patriots are awful. And Bill Belichick was asked today, speaking of the Patriots, a little sidecar here, who the starter for this weekend was. Because obviously everybody's patiently waiting to see who the quarterback's going to be for New England. And he had a response. He, quote-unquote, told everybody to be ready to go. So we still don't have a starter.
I'm taking it the other way. I think it's going to be Mac Jones.
I think it is, too.
I think that's just a cop-out. I mean, that could be interpreted as, he's telling everyone to be ready to go because they all need to be ready, and he's just afraid to tell Mac Jones no right now. I think it's the other way around. I think that's an indicator to the media that I don't want to deal with your bullshit.
Let's be honest, Mac Jones is their best chance of winning.
Probably.
Period.
Not true.
Even though he sucks, probably.
You think he's better than Bailey Zappi?
No.
You need to stop, dude.
Bailey's
Better than
won
Bailey
them
Zappi.
games.
Come on, dude.
I mean,
Say.
I just think they're all bad.
He's just
They're all
making bad
bad.
decisions.
They're all fucking bad.
They're
He's making
all
bad fucking decisions.
It's a good year to draft a quarterback. That's all I know.
Yep.
Anyway, so Jets Dolphins. The Dolphins are a 9.5 point favorite going into this game. The over under is 40.5. What do we see happening in this game? Obviously, the Jets desperately need a win here today.
The Dolphins have been doing some winning with their defense as of late. And I think this is a good trial run for McDaniels to get their offense back on track. But I think for that reason, low scoring. And for the Jets' defense reasoning, low scoring. So I'm going to take the under in that one. I actually do like Miami to control the entire tempo to the game. And I like them to cover that big number. I actually do. And I'm going with the Dolphins and the Dolphins to cover.
Uncle Sam.
Well, I don't know. I lost all 3 fucking games yesterday. I couldn't believe they didn't cover. It was fucking beyond me. But anyway,
Who didn't
I'm
cover?
gonna
Who didn't cover?
Washington.
Well, I did sit here and tell you that
Washington-
Dallas is gonna win by
Washington
3
and
fucking
Seattle.
touchdowns.
Actually, I took Seattle to cover also,
I'm
and
aware.
they didn't cover. So I'm gonna take Miami in the under. I'm gonna take Miami in the under. I just don't think that the chance that Tim Boyle is going to light up the fucking Miami defense.
It's
I'm
the same
sorry.
as your Bailey Zappi argument. There's a reason that's even though Zach Wilson's really bad, there's a reason why he was playing, and it's because he's
Correct.
the best option. And it's the same with Bailey Zappi and the it's
I mean,
yeah. I'm not in on Tim Boyle.
You know what? Making bad decisions is one thing, and that's what Zach Wilson does. Is he makes bad fucking decisions. Athletically, he can throw the football. He can run the football. He just fucking makes bad decisions.
Running the risk of looking like Uncle Sam here. Okay? Running the risk. Okay? This to me, and I'm very high on Miami, but this to me feels like one of those Mike White, Bailey Zappi games where Tim Boyle is going to come out today and look like he should know how to play football and then immediately revert back to it next week. For some reason, we've seen this time and time
So
again.
you trying to say you're going to take the Jets this week? Is that what you're saying?
I am
right
going to take Miami to win,
now? Okay,
and I'm going to take the Jets to cover.
that's a pussy bet.
And
That's a horrible take.
I guess there's a first for everything after, you've watched your uncle who you look up to do it 15 fucking times. I'm going to take Miami to win. I'm going to take the Jets to cover, and I'm going to take the under. The Jets defense needs a bounce back. I think Tim Boyle's going to come out.
Are they in New York?
They're in New York.
Okay.
See,
Well,
I got him
I'm
thinking
sorry.
now.
Are
I
they
got
in
him fucking
Jersey?
thinking now. Yeah, they're in Jersey. Jets to cover, Miami to win, and the under. And I know that's the most unlike me thing ever, but every once in a while, you get one of these fucking dumpster fire poop fucking quarter. Look at Danny DeVito last weekend.
My God.
World beater.
I'm still fucking in shock.
That's true.
about that.
I think
Gabagool.
Gabagool.
The difference is on Tim Boyle, the body of work exists, and he was
Correct.
just one of those guys
That's the
that was
difference
never good.
between him and Danny DeVito.
All I know is with all of us taking the under, that over's for sure.
For
hit.
sure, yeah.
Over's a lock.
Tim Boyle's going to throw for 3 touchdowns, 350 yards. 2 will beat him out 450 and 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. But, yeah, I know. I just like you there. But
That's the Black Friday game.
the Black
That'll
Friday.
be on here pretty soon.
Yeah, 3 o'clock start.
All right. What else we got?
So, we're getting into the Sunday slate now.
Did you playoff machine
We
it?
have the playoff machine.
Have to play on my
Dolphins us.
Yeah, so we're going to take the Dolphins, yep. And you put in the wins for the wins are already in for this weekend. So, we are going to start off with
Divisional game.
the New Orleans Saints are heading to Atlanta to play the Falcons. New Orleans goes into this one as a 1.5 point favorite. The over-under in this game, 41.5 points.
shit.
And Heineke is back. Or I'm sorry, and
Ritter
Desmond Ritter
is back.
Is back.
Ritter has been named the starter for New Orleans. It looks like Derek Carr's going to play.
He is?
It's
He is
looking
playing?
like it.
Interesting.
Michael Thomas is on IR.
Michael Thomas hit IR. Yeah, we forgot to talk about that. Yes, Carr came off the injury report this morning and cleared concussion protocol. So, Derek Carr's back. Desmond Ritter is back. We have a Bijan versus Kamara face-off. Zolo, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't have it in me to pick the Falcons to do anything. I haven't the entire year. Give me the give me the Saints to win, the Saints to cover, and give me the under.
Uncle Sam?
I'm going to take the Saints to win, Saints to cover, and I'm taking the over. I think there might be some points scored in this game.
I am going to take Atlanta to win this game. I am going to take the over in this game. I don't think you're going to see a ton of defense. I think Atlanta, honest to God, I think we're getting close to a situation where Arthur Smith might be coaching for his job because the shit that he has been doing lately, I can't imagine that this type of indecisiveness, the Bijan situation, like all those things have to be adding up to a pretty upset ownership. The fans there don't know what's going on. I think Atlanta's got to have a big game here. And this division especially, they are still very much in it. They need to pick up a win here. They'll be tied for first if they win this game. So give me Atlanta to win. Give me the give me the over in this game. That 41, I could see both these teams generating a few points if Desmond Ridder doesn't have to throw the ball. But they both took New Orleans. So on the playoff machine, we're going to go New Orleans winning this game. Next up, we have yet another
Divisional game.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are heading to Cincinnati to play Jake Browning and the Bengals. Pittsburgh, a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Whopping over under 35.5. Uncle Sam.
I know. Is T. Higgins playing?
No.
He's out.
T. Higgins is out.
You know what? What is it?
T. Higgins.
No, what's the over under?
T. Higgins is still question. Is he out?
I heard he's not going to play.
He's probably not going to fucking play. The Pittsburgh's a 2.5-point favorite. Over under 35.5. Bruce.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under, and I'm going to take. I'm going to surprise a lot of people. I'm going to take Cincinnati to win this game.
You're not wrong. That's not a surprise. I could see the Bengals winning the game.
I just think it's going to be the Joe Mixon / Jamar Chase show, and I don't think that Pittsburgh's going to have an answer for that.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh to win. I'm going to take Pittsburgh to cover. I'm going to bite on that under because I still think Kenny Pickett sucks. Can totally see Jake Browning's going to win some games. He's a serviceable quarterback. He's got great pass catchers. He's going to win some games. I just don't think it's going to occur against the Steelers defense. I don't think that's the defense that's going to get it done. And I'm looking for Pittsburgh to be a little bit more serviceable at quarterback. You made the decision. You did it for a reason. Let's see what Kenny Pickett does with Matt Canada not scaling him back. I'm looking for big downfield plays to Pickens and Deontay Johnson. I don't know how many we're going to see, but I think Pittsburgh wins this game, and I think they win it pretty soundly against Jake Browning. But I could see what you're not wrong. I think Cincinnati could totally. It won't shock me.
I just think these divisional games are so hard to
divisional game.
When you think you got to figure it out, those teams that are usually like coming in undermanned seem to play very hard.
The problem I have with that is, okay, Cincinnati without T. Higgins, Cincinnati without Joe Burrow, Cincinnati without some pretty big pieces on defense. Hubbard is still questionable going into this one. Cam Taylor-Britt, B.J. Hill. I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this game. After what they did last week, the Cleveland debacle where they only put up 10 points. They fired Canada this week. Sometimes after teams go through this, you see a little bit of a resurgence. We saw it with the Bills last week. I think that they put up just enough points to beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I don't think that Jake Browning, we don't know enough yet. We don't know the rapport he's got with these guys. I don't feel comfortable with Cincinnati right now. And here's the thing. If anybody is going to give Jake Browning fits, they're just going to send TJ Watt over and over and over again. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I'm going to take the under in this game. I think we're going to have another 14-10 game, a 17-14 game.
It's been the MO of that division unless the Ravens are playing.
And Pittsburgh, again, it's Pittsburgh's defense will keep them in every game all year. Give me Pittsburgh in the under. So, hold on. Who took who? He took Cincy, you took Pitt, right?
So Pittsburgh.
Okay. This could be, honestly, the only reason why this isn't the worst game of the week is because there's one that's worse. The Carolina Panthers are heading to Nashville to play the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee, a 3.5-point favorite in this game, over under 36.5. Uncle Sam, does Will Levis have what it takes to beat Bryce Young?
I want to take Tennessee in this. I am.
Spicy.
I think their woes offensively have really
You know what?
grounded them, but I'm going to take them to beat
What's the spread?
I still don't think that Bryce Young is ready.
3.5.
Be ready.
Tennessee's.
I'm taking the Titans to win and the Titans to cover,
Yeah.
especially because it's at home. I don't think Will Levis is that bad, and I love the pieces. I thought last week was a little uncharacteristic against a team that needed to win in Jacksonville. So I think this is a great duel. Will Levis is going to be wanting to lick his chops with the quarterback who went number 1 overall in the draft that he got spurned in. I still love Bryce Young. I still think he's going to be good. I think he's going to have a good showing, and for that reason, I'm going with the over. But the Titans to win, the Titans to cover, and give me the over.
Tennessee has lost their they're 0-3 in their last 3 games. They put up 16 on Pittsburgh's defense. They only mustered 6 against Tampa, and they only put up 14 against Jacksonville last week in Jacksonville in a divisional game. So I don't like much about this Tennessee Titans offense right now whatsoever. I think Will Levis is just serviceable enough to get them a couple of wins, and I think he will. But the X factor in this game for me is Derrick Henry has been slow as of late, to say the least. I think he gets to have a really nice big game against Carolina, and I think that Tennessee does win this game. I'm going to take the under because I just don't see a whole lot of points being manufactured from either of these teams. But give me Tennessee and give me the under. I think Derrick Henry has a big game, and one of my locks of the week is a Derrick Henry anytime touchdown, which I know has not been what it has been in past years, but I think that he has a monster game against this Carolina defense. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are heading to
Tennessee.
Are you not listening?
I'm dealing with a lot over here, okay?
Well, then you must not be playing with yourself, as we know that's not a lot. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are heading to the Earthstate Dome up in Indianapolis to play the Colts. Indy, 2.5-point favorite. The over-under's 44.5 points. Zolo, what do you think?
Come back to me.
Uncle Sam, what do you think?
I'm going to take Tampa to win this game.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to take Tampa.
Tampa Bay.
It's not easy to pick this one because these guys are both inconsistent as all hell.
Right.
Inconsistent. There's games that Tampa can pop off.
I don't think the Colts defense has an answer for fucking Mike Evans.
Maybe. I'm the other way around. I'm expecting a big game from Rashad White, and for that reason, I'm going to take Tampa to win.
So, I know it puts me at a little bit of an unfair advantage because I have the injury report in front of me when I'm picking these games. We have Devin White questionable, DeMille Dean questionable, Carlton Davis questionable, Chris Godwin questionable, Levante David questionable.
But the majority of those guys will play.
Yeah, okay, even if the majority of them play. Tampa, for me, as of late, I don't know the last time Tampa actually played a good game. Regardless of, even if they won. They beat Tennessee 20-6. Outside of that, in their last 6 games, Tampa Bay is 1-5. Their only win is against Tennessee. The other hand, I don't know how much I trust this Indianapolis offense right now. I don't really like Gardner. But the X factor for me in this game is Jonathan Taylor. Indianapolis coming off the bye. They're not banged up. I'm going to take Indy in this game, and I'm going to take the over. I think both these teams will be able to put up a decent amount of points. If Tampa Bay's defense is banged up, even if they do play as banged up as they are, I think Indy will be able to put up some points. I'm going to take the over Indianapolis to cover and win. I think we've officially okay. If you could think of a game that's worse than this on the year, I would love to hear it. The New England Patriots.
It's so shitty it's going to be good. I just want to say that.
Are heading to New Jersey to play Danny.
Mike didn't pick.
Oh, you didn't pick that last one.
Did I pick the Bucks?
Yeah,
I picked Tampa.
Oh, I thought you said come back to me on that one.
I did, and then I interrupted you afterward. But Tampa's my pick there.
The New England Patriots and the bottom feeders of the AFC East are going to New Jersey to play the New York Giants, Danny DeVito, and the bottom feeders of the NFC East. New England's a 3.5-point favorite in this game, which is kind of surprising to me after the Giants coming off their big win last week on a big performance from Danny DeVito. Over under 34. Can we take a second here? The over-under in this game's higher than the over-under in the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game. Who the fuck would have thought that?
I want him to take New England. That's all.
Well, then we'll give it to Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam, who do you got?
Taking New England Patriots in the over.
Do you care? Any explanation? We don't know who the quarterback's
I
gonna
just
be.
think that Bill Belichick will be able to scheme Danny DeVito.
You think so?
Yes.
Belichick's defense's MOs are we're going to take away what you do well, and the Giants do nothing well, so it's not going to be hard to take away what they do well. And I think if it is Mac Jones, which I think it is, and he's playing quarterback for his job, which he is, this is the game. It's a game you need to have. This is it. This is your shit or get off the pot. So for that reason, I'm taking the Patriots as well.
Wow.
And that over-under, I still think they suck. What's the number one more time?
34.
30? I'm taking the under.
See,
The over's not hitting until it does in this one. So I'm taking the under.
do it.
I'm going to take the New England Patriots -3.5 to cover and win this game. Belichick's old wrinkly sack, if there's one thing he does, it's prey on inexperienced quarterbacks, and it's beat up on shitty teams.
Gotta remember
If
the Giants.
If the Patriots lose this game, then everything else is a write-off. That's it. Belichick's a right everything. They cannot lose this game. I think this game is about pride. It's about honor. It's about country. Give me the Patriots. Give me the under. I don't think you're going to have Danny DeVito out there tossing touchdowns again this week. I can't imagine Belichick doesn't have this guy mapped out. I think it's just going to be, this might be the 9-6
What if Danny
game.
DeVito's the next Tom Brady?
What if he is?
We just don't know it.
He might be. He might be.
At most.
Well, if that's the
He'll be
case,
Jimmy
you would think he's
Garoppolo.
just a system quarterback anyways. So then hopefully he
No,
never
that's
leaves
only if
the
he
Giants.
plays in a Shanahan offense.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Next up, we have a big
Divisional game.
the Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Jills. Did you know their cheerleaders are actually called the Jills? Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are heading to Houston to play the Texans. Jacksonville currently 7-3 in first place in the AFC South. Houston 6-4, second in the AFC South. Jacksonville going into this one as a 1.5 point favorite. Over under a steep 47.5. Zolo, what do you think?
This is another tough one. I'm going to give the Bills the benefit of the doubt. I think Jacksonville's been playing a lot better. But I'm going to give the Bills the benefit of the doubt.
The Texans?
Excuse me, the Texans.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt just because it comes down to who needs it more. And I think the Texans need it more.
I'm going to take the Texans in the over.
We're fucked.
I think it's going to be a shootout, and you can't get in a shootout with C.J. Stroud.
I'm with you on a shootout favoring Houston over Jacksonville just because they've won the track meets.
Yeah.
And again, Trevor Lawrence, file under those quarterbacks that you don't want playing when they don't have a lead.
Right.
Have we seen Trevor Lawrence? Well, he did it in the playoffs last year against a shitty Chargers team, but how many times have we seen Trevor Lawrence do damage without having the lead?
He
It doesn't
struggled
happen.
this year playing from behind.
It's not going to happen against this Texans front. That's my take. I think that's the difference.
I'm going to take Houston as well to cover and win this game.
Oh, the Jags are for sure winning.
I'm going to take the over. Yeah, I didn't want to do it because
Jumping off the wagon.
So we're all Houston to win in the over?
yes, but
me.
here's the thing. Out of every game that's I feel more confident in the Patriots game than I do in this. This game is the one that could go completely either way. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen.
I agree.
Because here's the thing. This game could be a shootout, and then if Stroud throws a pick or two, Jacksonville is good enough to capitalize on that, right? If Jacksonville's defense decides to play, they might be able to stifle Houston for one game. There's too many factors, right? If Trevor Lawrence comes out and plays like dog shit, Houston could run away with it instantly. Like, there's too many variables in this game. I don't know enough about, I'm not confident enough in Jacksonville. And at the same time, Houston, as good as they have been playing, they make just enough mistakes to where they could lose this game. I'm going to take Houston in the over, but I'm not confident about it.
In my opinion, the Texans have just beaten a lot of better teams than Jacksonville. I love how Jacksonville's rebounded a little bit. I love how they've come home over the last couple weeks. But just the thought of we're at home for first place. We're one game back.
Yep.
We're hot. You're not.
We were supposed to win 2 games this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Esquire.
I'm very excited to do this game. Next up, the Cleveland Browns. Will you bark?
I'll bark when I pick if I pick the Browns.
Are heading to Mile High to play the Broncos. Denver going into this one as the favorite at 5-5. Cleveland at 7-3. Denver 1.5 point favorite. The over under a surprising 36. Uncle Sam.
Well,
Gonna take the Cleveland Browns.
that's at Denver.
It's at
Cleveland
Denver.
at Denver. Denver a 1.5 point favorite. The over under is 36. Calculating.
I'm going to take the dog. I'm taking Cleveland. I'm going to take Cleveland to win. And I'm taking the under.
Any reason why?
I just think their defense is something that Russ hasn't seen yet.
Hold on. I was just thinking about that. The Chiefs, but he's 1-1 against the Chiefs.
Huh?
The Chiefs defense, but he's 1-1 against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think that's the only one that's similar to this one. I was literally just having that same thought.
That kind of scares me, but I kind of like what they did last week with the running game, and I got a feeling they're going to do that again this week. Against a lot better defense, mind you.
Ooh.
I'll say this much. I think this is going to be DTR has had some pretty bad shakes in those first 2 starts. I think the first one was Baltimore, if I remember. Oh, no, did they sweep Baltimore? No, they were 1-1. The first one was Baltimore, and the second one was Pittsburgh. And this is going to make things a lot easier for DTR because I don't think this Broncos defense is anything to write home about.
I don't think it's as good as Kansas City's defense
No.
or Pittsburgh.
This is a tough game to pick, and I'm actually looking for, like, if there's one I'm looking forward to watching, it's this one. That being said, I have to ride the hotter hand, and the hotter hand in this case is Denver. It's the Broncos.
I get it. I'm just going to take it because I think Schwartz will game plan and be able to subdue Russell Wilson.
Can totally see the Browns winning. Totally. I think this is as 50-50 as any game on the slate. Can totally see the Browns winning, but Russell Wilson is a lot different than
in the Houston game.
This in the Houston game.
Yeah.
This game's a lot different than this offense is a lot different than Kenny Pickett. This is Russ at one of his hottest at this point, and it's in Denver, and I think that's a factor. I'm looking for the Browns offense to show a little more, which I think they will. But if they exceed that, they'll have a shot in this one. But in the meantime, I'm going to give Denver the benefit of the doubt.
Oof.
Deciding factor.
I don't think there's no wrong answer in this game.
I'm going to take Denver as well. Wow. Denver's hot, man. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. That's it in a nutshell. I'm not on the Russ train. I'm not, because it's well documented. These two were sitting there last week talking about how great Russ has looked and how good Denver is, and I'm not on the Russ train. I'm not on the Broncos
You won't
train.
do that because all you did last year was hop on the Russ train.
But
after disappointment and disappointment and disappointment.
you want to know why I'm taking Denver? Because Cleveland's not good enough to be an 8-3 football team. They're not.
Their defense is.
Yes, but they have to. This Dorian Thompson-Robinson thing, the not having a fucking. I mean, my God, it just doesn't make sense. They've got it. This team has to start to lose games at some point. They have to. The offense is not good enough for them to keep winning games. It's not. And I don't care what he says. I don't think their defense is as good as Pittsburgh. I don't. Anyways, give me Denver 1.5. I'm going to take the over in this game. I think Denver musters up enough points to just outscore them. I do. And I get it. Cleveland's defense has looked really, really good. But Russ has looked really, really good, as much as I don't want to admit it. So, and the thing is, we talked about this with the yesterday's games. Russ is finding everybody finally. right? The offense looks complete.
Jerry
Both
Jeudy.
running backs are performing well. Like everybody's getting the ball, and if they spread the offense out that wide, I think they're going to win this game. But you still took Cleveland, correct? Or no, me and Zolo both picked Denver.
We have Denver.
We both picked
I
Denver.
took Cleveland, but that doesn't matter for the playoff machine.
Oh, wow, this is going to be a poop. There's some poop games. Next up, the Rams are heading to Arizona to play the Cardinals in a
Divisional game.
Divisional game.
The Rams are a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under is 44.5. Go ahead. Take it away.
Sticking with your man, Kyler.
You want me to do it?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
let Zolo go.
As much as I can't stand the Rams lately, and I think they've been garbage, they're somehow in it, and I think getting Kieran Williams back is going to be a big boost for them. So I'm going to take the Rams.
Uncle Sam?
I want to take slinging Kyler Murray.
It's fair.
He's a little mini Pat Mahomes.
That's
He's a
fair.
point guard playing
Wasn't he
quarterback.
in the league before?
I trust Kyler Murray in a track meet very much more than I trust Matthew Stafford in a track meet. And I also just trust whatever the Cardinals have been doing great stuff all year, in my opinion, going back to Josh Dobbs. And this is a winnable game on their schedule, and their coach is going to want to win it. I think Jonathan Gannon's going to want to take that one.
I'm going to take Arizona in this game. I think Arizona's going to cover and win it. I think Uncle Sam is onto something with slinging Kyler Murray. I think he has a lot to prove right now. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I still don't think he's going to put up nearly as many points as Tua Tagovailoa this week, but I think that he's onto something. And the other thing is, for me, this Rams team just looks deflated right now. Cooper Kupp's banged up. They are getting Kieran Williams back, which will be very nice, but it hasn't been clicking as of late. And you have some guys in Arizona who have a lot. I mean, Marquise Brown, they were talking about trying to get him re-signed here before the season's over. Like, he needs to put on a little bit of a show. Kyler, the chip on Kyler's shoulder must be huge right now after all the shit everybody's talked. They got to win a few games. If they're going to win a few games, they need to beat this Rams team. Give me the Cardinals. In this over-under 44.5 here, I'm going to take the under. I am. At the end of the day, Arizona played Houston last week, and Houston only put up 21 points. I'm going to go with the under, but I do have a lock in this game. Even if Kupp plays, I'm taking Puka Nacua as an anytime touchdown scorer in this game. He's going to get one.
I'm actually shocked you traded him.
Me?
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Well, I got Brees Hall for him.
Haven't you been trying to get rid of him for like all season?
I know, but
I traded him to Uncle Sam in week 3.
You've been harping on Puka for a long time, and I'm just shocked. You're very big. You kind of look like him too.
I do.
Have I told you that?
Nobody has told me I look like Puka Nacua yet.
I'm not off on that one.
Do you think I look like Puka Nacua?
He probably doesn't know what he looks like.
That's your boy. You sold the house for him. Anyways.
Trash.
Give me Rams Puka Nacua. Can you get one with more flow?
I mean,
No. You're doing me dirty right now. Yeah, that one. That's Sam Randazzo with slightly longer hair. Am I wrong? Please.
hold on. Ready? Oh, it's not there. Damn it.
If your hair was longer and a little bit more straight, a little more head and shoulders, you come on. Come on. Am I off there?
He's got a nicer jawline than I do.
That's about it, though.
Yeah.
You guys have the same skin
Wow.
tone.
There is some gross similarity.
I told you.
Yeah, but he doesn't have
I
a
told
beard.
you.
I've never known. Let's just
He's clean shaven. It's
Yeah,
because he's probably
finally
fucking
clean
Mormon.
shaven.
He's probably never gotten pussy before either.
Not the same smile, that's for damn sure.
Oh, wow. Next up, we have another
Divisional game.
Divisional game.
Kansas City's heading to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. Kansas City is a 9-point favorite in this game. Over under 42.5. Uncle Sam, do your Raiders have what it takes?
The Raiders.
The Raiders. To hand
hasn't done
Kansas
that
City a second
all
straight loss.
No, I'm going to take the Chiefs in this and the over.
Really? Why?
Yep. I just think it's Patty Mahomes. He's cute. There's no way you could beat Patty Mahomes at home.
Well, Yes, I agree with you there. And the other thing is Patty Mahomes and Andy Reid both don't lose 2 in a row. I don't think it happens now. I am going to take the Chiefs in this game. I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover that in -9 as well. I think that they're going to put on a nice little show after losing to Philadelphia last week. And I'm going to take the over in this game. I think that Kansas City's probably going to get close to it by themselves. They need a big showing, and they could do it against the Raiders.
Chiefs to win, Chiefs to cover. I also like the over. They need a big second half too. I think the Chiefs need to do
out of the 1 seed.
The Chiefs need a big second half of the game because that's something that they haven't done in a couple weeks.
They have not
scored
scored in the second half. Yeah, they need a big one this week. Next up, the Buffalo Bills are heading to the city of brotherly shove to play the Philadelphia Eagles. This game is a big one for Buffalo. Philadelphia, a 3-point favorite in this game. Over under 48.5. Uncle Sam, let's hear it.
We take Philadelphia in the under.
Philly in the over. And I think this turns into, again, I liked a little bit. I still got to see more from what I saw out of Buffalo last week, but I think that they have an offense that could push Philly's defense a little bit further at the moment than the Chiefs did, for example. I just think this turns into a track meet, which will always benefit Jalen Hurts. So give me Philly to cover, Philly to win. Give me the over.
I'm going to take Buffalo in the over in this game. Buffalo's offense has got to click. They dismantled the Chiefs. They dismantled the Jets defense last week. The Jets defense isn't all too far behind Philadelphia, okay? And if they plan correctly, even with their banged up defense, they should be able to outscore Jalen Hurts. I'm going to take Buffalo. I'm going to take the over. I think there's a shitload of points in this game. Stephon Diggs, anytime TD scorer. I'm also going to take DeAndre Swift as an anytime TD scorer in this game. I think that Buffalo has a big day. And this is the thing. I don't know if they have anybody on the team good enough to do it. But you got to shut A.J. Brown off. If you shut A.J. Brown off, this team is beatable.
It nearly worked last week. That's the recipe.
That's
the recipe. Is you beat it. I mean, of course, other guys beat them. I think Devontae Smith beat the Chiefs.
That's fine. I'll let him do it.
That's the recipe to shut down Eagles O. Is if you could take A.J. Brown out of the game and then Swift secondary to that.
But the big question is, does Buffalo have anybody good enough to do it? I don't know that, but I'm going to bank on the fact that they do, and I'm going to take Buffalo in that one. Next up, on Sunday Night Football, live from Los Angeles, the Baltimore Ravens.
This is an easy one.
Heading to SoFi Stadium to play the Chargers. Kind of a surprise here. Baltimore only a 3.5-point favorite. Over-unders 48. Uncle Sam.
Taking the Baltimore Ravens in the over.
Zolo.
Ravens in the over.
Ravens in the over.
It's my ride or die. It's the Ravens.
Ravens in the over.
I'm with you on that.
Oh, is that the first sweep? All four of us?
No, with all four of us,
I
yeah.
think all four because he usually.
No.
fucks
Oh
around.
wait, Miami.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Kansas City.
taking a second here now to look at the playoff machine. So we picked all of our winners.
Hold on, we gotta pick our.
Obviously, we have Miami, Pittsburgh, Houston, Tampa, New Orleans. Is that New England? Yeah, New England, Tennessee, Arizona, Denver, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Monday night. Just a quick, we'll pick Monday night quick, but bust it down on Monday. Bears, Vikings. Are we all taking the Vikings?
Yes.
I think the Bears are going to cover.
At Minnesota.
Minnesota's a 3-point favorite.
At Minnesota.
At Minnesota.
Yeah, I'll take Minnesota.
Oh, it's not Kirk Cousins on Monday night. It's Josh Dobbs.
Even better.
Yeah, the
better.
Vikings to win, but that game's going to be closer than people think.
Honestly, I think I'd take Chicago, but for all intents
that's
and
fair.
purposes, pick Minnesota for the playoff machine. So, with all that being said, after this week, this is how we have it panning out. Baltimore is the 1 seed. Kansas City as the 2 seed. Miami is the 3. Houston is the 4 in winning their division because we gave them the win over Jacksonville. The 5 seed would then indeed be Jacksonville. The 6 seed Pittsburgh. The 7th seed Cleveland. So 3 teams from the AFC North. 2 teams from the AFC South. And only Miami and Kansas City making it from the other 2 AFC divisions, which I think is a surprise for everybody. If I would have told you at the beginning of the year there'd be 2 teams from the AFC South in the playoffs, I think everybody would have been surprised by that.
Yeah,
And
Cleveland.
realistically, Cleveland, I don't think anybody really had Cleveland on their radar as a possible playoff team. But
Pittsburgh. Goddamn.
I had Pittsburgh,
Zola had Pittsburgh.
but Houston and Cleveland are the big ones there.
In the NFC, we have Philadelphia at 10-1, sitting atop the NFC. In second place would be San Francisco at 8-3. Detroit sitting in third at 8-3. New Orleans sitting at fourth at 6-5. Wild card number 1 would be Dallas at 8-3. Minnesota is the 6th seed at 7-5. And Seattle still clinging on as the 7th seed at 6-5. Honestly, if you had to ask me right now, I think that the NFC there's 2 question marks for me in the NFC going forward. 1, who will the 7th seed be? Because as Seattle continues to lose through their gauntlet of the schedule, I see them falling out of that 7th seed. And is New Orleans just good enough to win that division? Those to me are the 2 question marks.
I think there's a question on seeding in the top 3 too. Mainly 2 and 3 because I think San Francisco is going to lose to Philly. But there's seeding. If you want to include seeding as a question,
Outside, so the big question mark there, I guess, then would be, will San Francisco and Detroit swap spots? Mm-hmm. Right. There's no chance. The NFC South winner will be the 4 seed. Dallas will be the 5 seed in my mind, right? Philly should be the 1. I think they're going to separate themselves to a point where they will be. And then, yes, the only real scenario would be San Francisco and Detroit swapping back and forth.
How is it?
It's all really still up in the air.
They're 8-3. Well, we have them at 8-3.
No, they're both 8. Yeah, well, no.
How are they the?
They're both 8. They're both 8-3 because they beat Seattle. We lost to Seattle.
Oh, that's right.
Correct.
And then in the AFC, Baltimore is the 1 seed. How confident are we that Baltimore finishes with a better record than Kansas City and Miami?
Confident.
Are you?
It's pretty much looking like it.
Certainly Miami.
It looks like
Confident
it
on
at this
Kansas
point.
City.
Do we think that Baltimore is the best team in the AFC right now?
Yeah, their only kicker is I know they have to go to San Francisco, I think, or vice versa. I know those 2 play each other soon.
Game.
Okay.
Got to see what Miami team's going to sprint out here in the second half here. They're coming off, they have a bye last week or no? Or was that the week before?
Hold on. Baltimore's schedule going forward real quick. I was trying to bring it up. At the Chargers this week. Then they're on a bye. At home against the Rams. At Jacksonville. At Frisco. At home against Miami. At home against Pittsburgh.
They got a tough road.
Those last 3 games, they could lose 2 of the last 3.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I think that Baltimore does finish the year as the 1 seed. Where's our thing?
You want it back up?
Yeah, I got to fucking see it. I'm talking about it.
Okay. Here it is.
Do we still think that 3 teams from the AFC North make the playoffs?
Right now, yes.
Is there somebody who would be a threat? I guess Buffalo is the biggest threat to Cleveland right now.
Buffalo, Denver.
Yeah, Denver too.
Buffalo and Denver.
That's so okay. So that adds a whole new aspect to this Cleveland-Denver game. That game actually has some meaning to it. I mean, because if Cleveland wins that and moves to 8-3, they're essentially, I mean, it's going to be hard for Denver would then be 5-6.
Who's Kansas City playing this week again?
Hold on. I'm getting there. Hold on. Kansas City plays the Raiders at Vegas.
That's not a gimme. Oh, I thought they were at home.
Nope, at Vegas.
Okay.
Are you switching your pick now?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The Cleveland-Denver game does have a little bit more meaning to it than we first thought.
Yeah, that's got a lot of meaning to it right now.
The only thing that could happen here is that AFC North beats each other up and gives each other a few losses. Because, like,
I can see that happening too.
and one of them ending up getting knocked
You know,
out.
I see that same scenario possibly happening with fucking San Francisco too. You know, these divisional games ain't gimmies.
Divisional
Did they
games.
lose to Seattle the first game?
Yes, they did.
They did.
Yeah, but
they
they're done
split.
with Seattle now. They're done with Seattle.
They still
Correct.
have to
And I'm not
play
worried about a divisional game between the Rams or
Well, they already
Or,
split.
they have to
Cardinals.
play Philly.
They already
Ra-
split.
the
The
Rams.
Rams split with them.
Seattle. The Rams swept Seattle.
No, I thought they split with Frisco.
Listen, in my opinion, right now
No,
today,
they
No,
lost.
Frisco beat them.
Seattle's not hanging on to that 7th seed. In my opinion,
Yeah.
I don't think they hang on to that 7th seed. I could see,
Yeah, but who jumps in front of them?
honest to God, right now,
The Packers could.
I think the Packers are on a better trajectory than Seattle.
Yeah.
I do. Outside of that, I don't think there's anybody unless Tampa or Atlanta find a way to string together 2 or 3 wins over the next 5 games and they
Right.
edge Seattle out.
Or maybe even New Orleans.
Well, it depends. If New Orleans beats Atlanta this week, I think they're on their way to separating themselves in the division.
Okay.
And I don't think Tampa's going to beat Indy. So
It all depends on what Philadelphia does at this point. They lose this game today.
it doesn't fucking matter. Philadelphia,
Well, I mean, they're still in first, but they still
Out
have
of
a tough
everything-
schedule going down the street.
out of everything on here, I am most confident in the fact that Philadelphia is going to take the 1 seed. Because
Okay.
realistically, if you break down the Philly schedule, yeah, is it a gauntlet? 100%. And did I pick Buffalo tonight? Yes, but even if they lose to Buffalo, what do they get? They might lose if they lose to San Francisco.
I truly think Buffalo's going to slide into that AFC picture.
I do too. I think
do.
they're going to be that spot
do.
instead of Cleveland.
Especially if they can win that game tonight, they're right in the driver's seat of sliding in there.
100%. I think that if I had to make a switch, I would say Pittsburgh finishes as the 7th seed and Buffalo takes the 6th.
What do you think is the biggest matchup this week for that AFC?
Jacksonville, Houston.
No, it's.
I agree.
No, it's the Cleveland and Denver.
That's got to
I
be
think that
that'd be a
Jacksonville
close second.
Houston game is huge.
Well, both of them are on good trajectories right now. I
Yeah.
think. It's just it'd be nice to lock up the division. You know what I mean?
I
Did
think
they play each
that
other
division's
once
going to come
already?
down to the
Yeah.
last week of the season.
I think Jacksonville barely they beat them, and they didn't look good when they beat them, if I remember correctly.
Hold on.
There's actually a chance Houston won, but
I'm trying to find it now again. The Denver Cleveland game. Because if Cleveland wins that game, then they're tied. Oh no, they're not. If Cleveland wins that game, though, they're at 8-4. It's going to be hard to catch them for any of the playoff teams.
to catch who? Baltimore?
No, Cleveland.
Oh,
That would put Cleveland at 8-4 or 8-3.
yeah.
That'd be a tough. They'd be very tough to catch at that point. Jacksonville and Houston. The first time they played, Houston beat Jacksonville.
Just think about it. If you're
37-17.
If you're
Houston,
Baltimore, let's say you clinch this division, you might have to play Cleveland or fucking Pittsburgh in that game.
Well,
In that game following their bye.
yeah, I'm sure they're fine with it. I'm sure the Ravens are fine with
The
it.
worst case scenario, I think, for Baltimore would be to lose that 1 seed and then have to play Cleveland the first week.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I agree. I think right now Baltimore's at a place where they're not really worried about too many teams.
Cool.
Okay.
Anyways, do we have anything else to add?
Go blue.
Go blue.
Are you going to give a go blue?
It's your state.
I think
your
Michigan
state.
will win this game Saturday.
You do.
I do. I think
are we
even
making
without
we make an
even
official
without
pick here?
Harbaugh, I think they're I think not having Harbaugh will push them over the edge.
But I mean, I don't know.
It's
how
just
much
my
sense
opinion.
that makes.
I think that they're a little hungrier to play for it.
I think they're going to be very. I don't know if they're going to win because I still think Ohio State, other than at quarterback, is more talented in my
I agree with
opinion.
that.
Well, not just running back to tight end. Michigan's more talented at running back, tight end. Regardless, I think Ohio State's got a lot of talent. There's a lot of 5-stars sitting over there, but
Michigan's a 3.5-point favorite.
I mean, they were a national championship contender before the year. And Ohio State's got their worst quarterback they've had in 10 years.
Wow.
It's Craig Krenzel.
Well, I don't know about worse. He just doesn't have any experience.
I would call him worse, in my opinion. He's not as good as Stroud or Fields or anyone who came before them. The list is long of who's having.
Because Stroud played every game the last 4 years.
Yeah, last 2 years. Regardless, those guys also Justin Fields came in and Stroud came in with no experience, and they did some good work. So, but it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a raucous Michigan crowd. I think that the players are going to be hungry.
They had a different head coach too.
Yeah.
They came in.
Oh yeah, they did have a different head coach for sure.
They had Urban Meyer.
A better head coach.
Well,
Yeah, you had arguably one of the most scumbaggest coaches in college football teaching you.
The one factor that not a lot of people are talking about, especially as all this new news comes out and how this investigation is getting firmly linked to Ryan Day's brothers, is both these coaches came out this week and they wouldn't admit that they respect the other. Ryan Day, he shouldn't be coaching for his job, but he probably feels like he is coaching for his job this week.
Well, he's lost to Michigan 2 years straight.
Yeah, but his program is still in good standing.
Better. He's lost to Michigan 2 years.
I get it, but his program is still in good standing. But that's why he did what he did. That's why his brothers launched investigations, because his entire stake to the throne is tied to beating Michigan. He hasn't done that. Not only has he lost to Michigan 2 years straight, but Michigan ducked him 3 years ago in the COVID year. So Ohio State hasn't beaten Michigan this decade. And I think that the Ryan Day factor, like, that guy really needs this game. Do I think he's going to get it? I don't know. This decade. They haven't beaten him since 2019. That's the last time Ohio State beat Michigan. 2020, 2021, 2022. They didn't play in 2020, and they haven't beaten him.
They won 16 in a row.
I know, but this decade.
Oh.
Not in a decade.
In the 2020s.
In the 2020s.
Oh, okay.
In the 2020s.
I thought you meant in 10 years, and I was...
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't win 16 in a row, by the way. Yeah, they did. They won 2004 to 2000 and...
Yeah, they won like 16 straight.
It was 2004 to 2010, so they won 6 there, and then they won 2012 to 2019 and 2020. So they had 2 separate 6
The longest win.
Michigan only beat them. It was Brady Hoke. They beat him with Luke Fickell, that interim coach. Jim Tressel just gotten fired. That was Michigan's.
Yeah, I remember when they fired Tressel.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be a different Michigan Ohio State game. It's also, by the way, a very underrated storyline that no one is talking about this weekend is the next 2 weeks of college football, or the end of college football as we know it, including this game. Going forward, there's a chance that Michigan and Ohio State will play 2 weeks in a row because of the way the Big Ten set up going forward. The conferences, we're getting the dissolution or the dissolving of the Pac-12, and the power is shifting, and we have the 12-team playoff next year. So hypothetically, both of these teams would get in next year. This is like one of the last big college football games. It's arguably the big, like, you can make the case it's the biggest game of the year. It is the biggest game of the year. It is the biggest game of the year, and that's why Michigan Ohio State's one of the best rivalries in sports. That's why it's one of the biggest games in sports. It's delivered for the last decade, in my opinion. And it's going to be the biggest game of the year, and it's the end of college football as we know it is this weekend. It's shifting towards more of that pro model with the TV rights, and it's just shifting, and this is a big one. And for both of these teams, both of these
the end
programs.
of college football happened when the NIL come into this whole debacle.
Oh, Jesus.
Go blue. That's what I'm adding. We've been on the air for an hour.
All right.
Or 2 hours, excuse me, 2 hours.
Cool.
2 hours. Real quick before we leave, T. Higgins is out. Cam Taylor-Britt is out. Alan Lazard was a healthy scratch for today. That's interesting.
How about Derek Barnett?
Derek Barnett, the Eagles cut him today.
Raggy.
They cut him?
They cut him.
Okay.
He's
I
got
know
to
he's had a lot of injury issues.
He's got to go through waivers. He's got to go through waivers.
And much to Uncle Sam's glory, there's a video circulating of Aaron Rodgers walking in, no crutches. Doesn't look like there's anything on his leg. Just trotting in, backpack on, earphones in, ready for the game.
He'll be
today.
slinging that ball around the field, too.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, make sure to check us out on YouTube. Ring the bell. Remember to subscribe so you get notified when we go live. Join us in the chat Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. Thank you so much for listening. You will hear from us on Monday. Enjoy a weekend full of football.